Well, here we are once again. Floating somewhere between Earth and space, just trying to figure it all out. We've got a hell of a lot to talk about here tonight, Space Fam, so I guess we better get right to it. As always, do not forget to buckle up those seatbelts, otherwise you might go floating off into that deep dark void of space. Space Fams, lovely to see you today. Lovely to see you today, Election Day. You know what? I forgot. Wasn't I going to change this? I was going to change this. Well, first some shoutouts. Young Chris, Hermetorologist, Monoip123 in the YouTube chat. Sweet Chewy, Close Fourth, MS T Wash, Sarah Layla, Mr. Spock, and Frizzla. In the YouTube chat, Stoicite on Twitch. Well, it's Election Day, everybody. Which means we need some of this. Yes, now it feels more Election Day-ish. All right, people, Election Day coverage. Primaries happening in 3 different states. Maryland, New York, and Utah. 3 different elections to cover. We're gonna do it all tonight. Oh yeah, here on the Galactic News Network. Hopefully you've already followed on Twitch and subscribed on YouTube. Prepare yourselves, everybody. Democracy time.
Fuck yeah!
Holy Toledo. I looked at thousands of polls. Your Ipsos, your Marquette University Law School, your New York Times, Siena College, your Quinnipiac, your Marist. You say it, you name it. I looked at it, looking for Trump's.
All right, am I the only one who thinks the behind the scenes and Emden Cam is hilarious? The fake CCTV, inside of Harry's office.
Holy Toledo. Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo.
Quinnipiac, your Marist. You say it, you name it. I looked at it, looking for Trump's biggest midterm red flag, and folks, I think I've actually found it. Now, let me set the stage for you and how I found it. Why don't we just talk about Donald Trump's popularity right now? It has absolutely plummeted over the course of his second term. Trump's net approval rating. You go back to the beginning of his second term, look at this. He was on the plus side of the ledger, plus 6 points. When you can put it on your hands, you know that it means something. Plus 6 points on the positive side of the ledger. But look at how far down he has plummeted, right down into the Hudson River here in New York City. Look at this. He's 28 points underwater. That is a shift of over 30 points to the red side of the ledger. And the question, of course, is why? What has happened? And I had a few different theories of the case, and I want to take you through them, and I dismissed them.
It's science.
What's the first theory of the case? Well,
nope, done.
The Iran war, right? It's been going on for a number of months right now, and you can see that Trump is struggling on foreign policy. Trump's net approval rating on foreign policy. You go back to the beginning of his term,
I did
1, 2
everything
on the
right
positive
and
side
they
of the ledger.
indicted
Barely on the
me.
positive side, but hey, you'd rather be barely on the positive side than the negative side of the ledger. But look at where he's fallen to now. 24 points underwater in February of 2026, just before the Iran war started. And look at it now. It's even lower. It's barely a little bit lower, but it is lower. At 26 points underwater, nearly a 30-point shift against the President of the United States. So you might be saying to yourself, hey, this seems bad. Isn't this what's driving the negativity around Trump, dropping him to term 2 lows in terms of his overall approval rating? But then I went back through the history books, went back through my mind, and I remembered an election that was 34, nearly 34 years ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. Remember this. Remember when President Bush, George H.W. Bush, for the youngsters out there was actually a President Bush before George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush's father. He won a war, for goodness sake. They won the first Gulf War against Iraq, and his foreign policy approval rating, his net approval rating, was on the positive side of the ledger. Look at this. Going into that 92 election, plus 17 points. They beloved him. He was beloved. He was loved on foreign policy by the American public. But what happened in that election? Well, Bill Clinton is what happened in that election.
Immediately, if not sooner.
George H.W. Bush by 6 points, despite the fact that George H.W. Bush won a war, for goodness sake. So I don't really...
Yeah, yes, of course, Harry. Very sensible Harry. He's skeptical on this, and I agree. We can't rely on foreign policy. Most Americans don't even know where Iraq is. I think I got a rock in my shoe.
Immigration. And immigration has been an area in which used to be, again, a plus for him, but now has become a negative. Trump's net approval rating on immigration. He was plus 7 points. It was one of his best issues back at the beginning of his second term. But then, he's red now. But here's the interesting thing. At the height of that Minneapolis, all those agents federal agents going into Minneapolis, he fell to a term too low at minus 17 points. But look at what's happened. Despite the fact that his overall approval rating continues to decline, his immigration approval has actually rebounded a little bit. It's now at minus 14 points. So when you look at this, you say, okay, his overall approval rating's falling, but his immigration approval rating is actually climbing a little.
I literally said that I was worried that this would happen, and it happened. Another one of those, I was right about a bad thing. But I just knew that their strategy to try and get immigration out of the public eye when it was at their lowest approval rating, right, by firing Kristi Noem and getting Greg Bovino out there because they were so hated, and it worked. They just switched them out and stopped talking about as much, and then all of a sudden, no, look, 3 points.
This is ridiculous!
Come on, America. Why do you have the attention span of a goldfish?
It's probably not that either. And then I had it. I had the moment where I go, oh, it's so simple. It's so simple. So, Trump's biggest red flag, look at this. It was an issue on which he beat Kamala Harris by 7 points.
Okay, this is still fucking hilarious to me. When I first saw this, I was like, "Are you kidding me right now, Harry?" Now we're doing a game show. Now we're doing a game show, says Harry. Look, can't just give me the numbers up front. That's not a business. Come on.
Flick, look at this. It was an issue on which he beat Kamala Harris by 7 points back in the 2024 election in terms of who is most trusted. And now, well, wait a minute. Minus XX points. Boy, this is quite the mystery for me. I think I need something to refresh me.
What a fucking dork.
Very nice.
Such a fucking
warming me right back up. What is the biggest
red
help. Flag? What is it?
You need help.
Folks, it's what I thought it was all along. It's so obvious, so simple. How did I not see it right from the start? It's inflation. Of course it's inflation. It's prices. It's the number one issue. Look at this. He went from being trusted more on the issue by 7 points by Kamala Harris. Now he's 51 points underwater. That is a nearly 60-point switcheroo. It's a mind-blowing switcheroo. The issue that got him elected, and now he's 51 points underwater. This is the biggest red flag by far for the President of the United States. And he's losing it even amongst his own base. And I think his own base The 2024 Trump voters, they tell the story. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, Trump's net approval rating among his own 2024 voters. Look at this. On the border, he's at plus 76 points in terms of his net approval rating. Still very, very popular. On foreign policy, which we mentioned earlier on, he's still very, very popular at plus 50 points. But look at what's happened. This is his own voters. These are the people who voted for him back in 2024. He's now, get this, he's 4 points underward. He's on the negative side of the ledger.
Holy Toledo.
That got him reelected back in.
Oh, wow. It would seem, as we've been, basically, I think most of us have been aware of this, but Trump's economic policies are really dragging him underwater, especially when it comes to inflation. At least, of course, inflation is not a policy so much as the result of policy. But we've been talking about it, and that does it. I mean, Harry laid it out there. Let's be real. Makes a lot of sense. And those numbers are of Trump's own voters. That's not with the whole country. That's with like a third of the country who really, really likes Donald Trump. And most of have not yet abandoned the president. Even those guys are still like, God, I'm so sick of paying $1,000 to fill up my goddamn car.
Help! I'm being repressed!
Even those people. Can you imagine what the rest of the country is thinking right now? Sane, thinking individuals. Well, a lot of those people are thinking we need a new direction in this goddamn country.
Immediately, if not sooner.
2024 amongst his own.
People are thinking we need leadership that hasn't failed us yet. That's saying things that make sense. You know, guys like
Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani. He made a little appearance on MSNBC. Ali Velshi. To talk about that new direction of the Democratic Party.
We are 133 days away from the midterm elections, and tomorrow, New York votes. In a state with 26 congressional districts, exactly one is likely to change hands in November. None of what happens tomorrow will determine which party controls Congress, and yet, by tomorrow night, the Democratic Party may look meaningfully different than it does tonight. Whether that's a crisis or a correction depends entirely on where you sit. Every fault line running through the Democratic Party in 2026, progressive versus moderate, outsider versus establishment, fighter versus folder, is on the ballot tomorrow. And at the center of it all is a 34-year-old man who holds no congressional office, leads no party committee, and is 6 months into his first term as the mayor of New York City. Zohran Mamdani has put his name and his movement behind just 3 congressional candidates running tomorrow. He says the 3 will fight for everyday working New Yorkers, take on corporate greed, protect immigrant communities. So let's take a closer look at Mamdani's chosen candidates and their races. In New York's 7th congressional district, Mamdani is backing State Assembly member Claire Valdez. She's contending in a race for an open seat that covers parts of Queens and northern Brooklyn. In New York City's 13th district, which includes parts of the Bronx and Upper Manhattan, Mamdani is backing the community organizer Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier. She's running against Adriano Espaillat, a 5-term incumbent and the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. He's been described as the informal dean of New York Latino politics, and he spent decades mentoring a generation of Dominican and Latino leaders. The stakes of that endorsement are hard to overstate.
I'm going to skip ahead on this, but yeah, I mean, let's be real. Holly's right. That endorsement is is important. By the way, we have 3 different, like I said earlier, but just to remind everybody, we have 3 different primaries tonight. Maryland, New York, and Utah. The first one closing will be Maryland at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then New York at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Utah at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be a slow roll as these start to come out over the evening. Try to keep you covered. I think I got us perfectly lined up so I run out of clips. By the time that first one closes, then we'll switch over to the live streams.
But the endorsement getting the most attention.
Yes, the endorsement that is, of course, getting the most attention is that of Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York. Okay, why are you being fucking stupid? There we go.
A more affordable place for working people to live. Joining me now is the Democratic mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani. Mayor Mamdani, good to see you here. Thank you for joining us.
Zohran Mamdani.
Oli, thank you so much for having me. And, before we begin, I just want to speak directly to New Yorkers. A year ago, you shocked the world. You took a chance on me. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Tonight, I come to you asking you to take a chance again. Now, the names may be different. Daria Lisa, Brad, Claire, but the fight is the same. A fight to reject a broken status quo. A fight to reject a politics of hate, division, and fear. Yeah! A fight to reject a politics of big money and small ideas, and instead a vote for a city you can afford. A vote for the values that make us proud to be New Yorkers. Tomorrow's Election Day. Let's show them who we are.
So let's talk about the status quo, what you call the broken status quo. I spoke with Hakeem Jeffries last month about these non-open seat primaries, meaning there's an incumbent in them, and the possibility of progressive challenges against incumbents. Listen to what he told me.
Well, we're going to continue to defend every single House incumbent. Ultimately, however, it's going to be up to the people, and that's the reality of serving in the House of Representatives.
So that was intriguing. It's ultimately up.
Was it intriguing? I mean, that is rich coming from Hakeem. He's just lucky that he doesn't have a fucking primary challenger this goddamn this fucking midterm. I'm still mad about that. That's still my most disappointing non-primary of the day. There's a few out there that are a little frustrating. That one tops the list. How we didn't manage to organize that one properly, get somebody in there, beyond me. Oh, but the opinion of Hakeem Jeffries couldn't be less important.
Of serving in the House of Representatives.
So that was intriguing. It's ultimately up to the people, but the party has always backed incumbents. If two of your three candidates win tomorrow, they will be the first
to unseat
a sitting Democratic incumbent.
It should be less important, but now he's going to go back to the House for another 2 years. But we need a leadership fight. We need a leadership fight. After these elections are over, this year, after November, comes around, we need to immediately talk about who the fuck is in charge of this goddamn party. And it should not be Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck goddamn Schumer. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, no.
Country. There have been two Democratic incumbents who have been defeated. That's because they were redistricted into challenging each other. Tell me why you're investing in this.
I think what we see in these candidacies, whether it be of Brad or Daria Lisa or Claire, is a fight for a vision that has working people at the heart of it. And that is pertinent in our city because we are the most expensive city in the United States of America. And it's also pertinent across the country because we know that no matter where you live, working people are struggling with the cost of living crisis. And in each of these campaigns and each of these candidacies, I see champions who would not only be partners of our affordability agenda in Washington, but also help to lead our party in a new direction where we understand that at the heart of everything we do must be the dignity of working class people that for too long have been in the rearview mirror of the Democratic Party.
Let's work through a couple of these. Dan Goldman didn't just decline to endorse you for mayor. He went on CNN and said he was very concerned about your rhetoric, said he didn't know if he was going to vote for you in the general.
He's a real piece of shit.
And by his own words, he didn't. Is there a personal element to your decision to endorse Lander over Goldman?
No, he's just better.
You know, the only personal element of it comes from my admiration of Brad, and someone that I've gotten to know not only as a colleague but also as a friend. And as you were sharing earlier, we were both running for the same position last year. And yet what we both understood is that if we want to bring a new kind of politics to our city, we also have to embody that. And the two of us joined hands and showcased what it could look like if politics had a little bit more sincerity at the heart of it instead of the typical cynicism that drives so much of it. And Brad is running a campaign where he is showing what it looks like, to use the words of Mr. Rogers, to be a good neighbor. And I can't wait to see someone who's not just had my back, but has had the backs of New Yorkers, whether they're immigrants, whether they're small business owners, whether they're people who are being unjustly detained by ICE, to finally be able to go to Congress and have the back of this entire city.
And Brad Lander has constantly gone to court. He's been arrested for doing it. In fact, he was just found not guilty of those charges a couple of weeks ago. He's called what Israel is doing in Gaza genocide. Dan Goldman will not use that word. He also won't use the word occupation to describe Israel's presence in the West Bank and Gaza. Both of them are Jewish, and both of them want to represent a district with a large Jewish population. So what does that tell us about the future of the Democratic Party, that this has become such a major fault line?
Well, I think for many it's a crisis not only in our politics but also in our morals. And what New Yorkers are looking for are leaders who are able to say that they believe in human rights no matter whom it applies to. And I think you can see that in Brad. It's not just his willingness to name the genocide for what it is or the occupation for what it is. It's also his commitment to actually co-sponsor the Block the Bombs legislation that would stop our country from being complicit as it is in the continued massacring of Palestinians through the Israeli military's bombs. And that's what we want to see. We want to see a new kind of leadership that is willing to chart a path forward, that invests in babies and doesn't invest in bombs.
What happens? You tend to give off an optimistic vibe, so you probably don't want to answer this question. But what happens if your candidates lose? Is there an undercurrent to this whole dynamic that there's some danger doesn't go away after this election cycle? I mean, will you get behind anybody who's a Democratic candidate who wins tomorrow night?
You know, if whoever wins tomorrow night, I'll be there to be a partner with them. What I will tell you is that I've taken all my time and thought about the fact that we could be seeing New Yorkers electing all three of these candidates to becoming the next congresspeople representing our city in the delegation in Washington, D.C. And I think whether you're talking about Brad in New York 10, Daria Lisa in New York 13, or Claire Valdez in New York 7, you see the opportunity to write a new chapter in our politics. And New Yorkers are hungry for change. And
Yes, indeed. New Yorkers are hungry for change.
Give us pizza or give us death. Yeah!
I'm sorry, democratic socialism or death. Sorry, not pizza. Wrong sound check. Is it true New York is asking for another bailout? I haven't heard that, but it is true that New York pays more per person than almost any other state in the nation. Paying more to the federal government than it receives, unlike most red states, which take in more federal income, federal tax dollars than they contribute. So if you want to talk about bailouts, let's talk about all the red states getting yearly bailouts from the taxpayers of places like New York State. Would you like to do that? Is that what you'd like to do? Like to get into that right now? Does that interest you, Cap? Because really, when you think about it, that's a yearly bailout, right? Every single red state that has a deficit with the federal government is getting bailed out every fucking year, right? And the people in those states would have no infrastructure or healthcare or a bunch of other shit if we didn't do that, right? That's a kind of bailout. It happens every year, and we do it because we're a country. You know, it's not just an amalgamation of states. We're a nation, you know, and we work together.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Today is primary day here in New York, as well as in Maryland and Utah, with a runoff in South Carolina. In several of the races, it's a battle between different wings of the Democratic Party amidst the rise of one group in particular, DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. In New York City, the DSA has a packed slate of 10 candidates across congressional, state assembly, and Senate races. In the 13th congressional district, the DSA is backing organizer Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier against incumbent Adriano Espaillat. And in the 7th district race for outgoing Congressmember Nydia Velázquez's seat, the DSA is backing union organizer Claire Valdez against Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso, who is backed by Congressmember Velázquez, as well as the Working Families Party. Earlier this month, Democracy Now! Covered a rally hosted by the New York City DSA in Brooklyn and spoke to some of the DSA-backed candidates in today's primaries. Democracy Now! Spoke to Ian Huntley and Conrad Blackburn, running for the state assembly from Brooklyn and Harlem, Abir Kawas, running for the state senate from Queens, and to New York State Assembly person Claire Valdez, running for Congress in New York's 7th congressional district.
People are really mobilized. I think they're outraged by the genocide. They're outraged by what ICE is doing. They're outraged by the Trump administration. And they want to see a Democratic majority that's going to fight for universal health care, for truly deeply affordable housing, to stand up against, the tech oligarchs, and so many of the people who make our lives hard.
I know what it's like to have to make a choice between paying for rent and paying for daycare. I know what it's like to be concerned that when our lease is up, it will be the next family that's displaced from this community. I know what it's also like to really be very scared about how am I going to pay for my kids' college because I'm still paying off my own student loans.
The housing instability that people are facing in Harlem is due to the fact that the people in power are taking money from landlords, taking money from developers, and then turning around and telling people that they're fighting for housing. It's just not true. And so in this moment, we really have to fight back.
For me, as a Palestinian, to be at a rally for Democratic nominees and have free Palestine signs after years and years and years of having elected officials not even ever take Palestine seriously, go through a genocide where people didn't even speak out about Palestine, this is such a momentous moment because it's really a change in political will and political history.
Is it true that 7 Democrats crossed over and signed off on funding ICE? I don't think so. I think that went a party line. But I'd have to double check. You're talking about the vote that happened like a week and a half ago? Not that I'm aware of. But that's what the point of the primaries is for, isn't it? To get rid of the Democrats that we don't want in office.
United States.
That was Abir Kawas, DSA candidate for the New York State Senate, as well as Conrad Blackburn and Ian Huntley, DSA candidates for New York State Assembly, and Claire Valdez, the DSA candidate for Congress. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani has also played a key role in the races, backing the DSA's congressional candidates, as well as former city controller Brad Lander, running as a progressive challenger to Congressmember Dan Goldman here in New York City. For more on the rise of the DSA in New York and beyond, we're joined by Liza Featherstone, columnist for Jacobin, freelance journalist, author of Selling Women Short, The Landmark Battle for Workers' Rights at Walmart. Her latest column is headlined, NYC Socialists Are Trying to Expand Their Electoral Wins. So talk about the divided Democratic Party and the power of the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, in New York and beyond.
Sure. Well, in the larger scheme of things, the Democratic Party is really divided between its corporate and pro-war wing, which is represented by the Democratic leadership, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, both of whom are New Yorkers, and it's more. And it's more left-wing, more grassroots base, and DSA in New York City is one of the very grassroots forces representing that base, and some of our contests, particularly the congressional contests, are really playing that out.
And Liza, as you well know, there have been other periods in American history where socialists have gained local office, especially in mayoralties and city councils, hundreds during the early 1900s. New York City had a famous socialist congressman, Vito Marcantonio, from East Harlem in the 1940s. What is different in your estimation of this, because of this wave? Because capitalism always figures out a way to come back and to take back those seats.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, one, it's similar, in the sense that, where socialists at that time, as now, were very strong at the neighborhood level and also made these bigger wins, on the mayor level and congressional, and yet, as you point out, we still live in a capitalist society. That's true, but I think. I think that something, something that's a little bit different now is the real crisis on the national front in terms of the Trump administration, really signaling that the elite just doesn't care about democracy at all. And
yeah, no, they seem to be leaning into authoritarianism lately. Oligarchy, whatever you want to call it. And it's a disturbing trend that we seem to be heading in the direction of. Now, in this race, there's a bunch of incumbents looking to fend off primary challenges. Primary challenges that in many cases we are in fact supporting around here. We already went through the list of different candidates. Although I forgot, I just didn't wind up having enough time to actually clip and post a video. I should have. Didn't. We did do a couple of live streams where we talked about it, but these are the candidates. Hard to read, I guess, here. Here's our list of candidates that we got in this races. Unfortunately, here in the 1st district of Utah, this is our only primary. There was Democratic. What do you call them? I forgot the fucking word now. At the Democratic convention, the candidates for the general were decided in all of the other districts in Utah. I think they might do things differently with their elections in Utah. I still haven't quite figured. I need to look into what the fuck happened here. I don't quite understand that aspect of it. All I know is that there's no primaries happening in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. All of those candidates have already been decided, but there was some kind of internal party primary that was done convention style rather than by vote, and I don't know why. And it's possible that this first one was also done convention style, but didn't reach the level of unanimousness that was needed. That's what my assumption is. I don't know actually 100% on that. Suffice to say, not a ton of democracy happening here in Utah. They also have very few seats due to their small population. Then we got a bunch of different. NC means no challenge, so there's I don't know, 40% of the races have no challengers in them, maybe a little less than that. I don't know. But then Maryland, we got a primary in every single district. Unfortunately, I didn't do enough on the governor's race, and fucking Kathy Hochul didn't have a challenger. She should have. Suffice to say, that's another one of the failures I'm a little bit down on. The lack of challenge there.
Welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Melanie Zanona in Washington, and if it's Tuesday, voters are voting in primaries in 4 states, all as President Trump hits the campaign trail in battleground Pennsylvania, looking to turn the page on the Iran war and focus on what matters most to voters. That's the economy, an issue where he's seen his approval numbers hit new lows in recent weeks. You're looking at live pictures here of the president campaigning in Pennsylvania's 7th district, which Democrats see as one of their best opportunities to oust a sitting Republican congressman in November, in large part by focusing on the issue of affordability. President Trump today touting the recent stock market gains, insisting prices are coming down, and also slamming Democrats for voting against his tax cuts, all as he claimed the economy would only improve from here.
It doesn't even matter the Democrats voted against it. It still passed. Like, who cares? Who cares the Democrats didn't pass it? The Republicans passed it without the help of Democrats. And they got those tax cuts. And those tax cuts went specifically to him, Elon Musk, all the other billionaires. At least the vast amount of money, right? The actual amount of money. The majority of the money of the tax cuts is all going to people like them. The ultra wealthy.
Our economy is ready to soar to levels the world has not seen before. I believe that, David. I think it's going to levels that nobody's ever seen before. All these factories are being built, and they're going to be occupied, and they're hiring people now, and it's going to be something very beautiful. I don't know who's going to follow me, but remember that I was the one that did it, okay?
Everybody remember that.
My first day, the fake news is screaming.
Everybody remember that I did the economy. The economy that's doing so badly for everybody. By the way, I heard that, you know how we're told that, like, AI data centers, the data centers that Trump is green lighting across the country right now, they're making your energy bills more expensive. I hear that the biggest data center company on the planet, Oracle, cut like tens of thousands of jobs because of the AI push. Last, I think it was Saturday. I think it was like over the weekend, maybe something like that. And this guy keeps wanting to tout his economy that has completely failed. But he's doing it like in advance. He's like, look, economy is going to be great. Not great yet, even though he's been in charge for a year and a half. Still not great, but it will be great. But it's also, in a lot of ways, already great when you think about it. It's going to be even greater, and you'll notice it. Because he knows how bad it's going. Donald Trump knows how bad his economy is right now and how fucking unpopular he is on the job he's doing with the economy. By the way, speaking of the economy, I just want to gloat for a second. I just want to laugh. I just want to laugh a little bit because SpaceX lost 25% of its value in the last week or so. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. But SpaceX is fucking imploding right now. Where is it? Show me. Okay, well, it's not showing the correct numbers, but if you just look here, right? It hit a 225. Right? That was the 52-week high. Of course, it's only been around for about a week and a half. What's the math on that? 156.11. Here. 156. Or what was I say? 225? 225. That is 31%. It is 31%. just for fun. Just to keep with the fun. Let's just do 31 times 1.4. Whew. 0.43. 0.434. That 4 is a fucking million, I would point out. Wait, no, billion. That 4 is a billion. Right? Hold on. Yeah. Oh my god. He lost so much money. He lost like $430 billion or something like that. Wait, I just lost track of where I was, what I was doing with the math. Suffice to say, Elon Musk lost hundreds of billions of dollars. I lost track of the math. I could redo it again, but we don't have time for that. But suffice to say, he lost hundreds of billions of dollars. 30% of that massive stake in SpaceX. Gone. At least the monetary value of it. He still has the same amount of stock, technically. Sadly, the government didn't see any sort of taxes from any of that. He just got poorer. You can't comprehend that it's too much money. Look, listen, that's fair. But yeah, that's what I did. I did 0.31 times 1.4, which was $1.4 trillion, which was 0.434. Yeah, that's $434 billion. That is unbelievable. It's a happy. Oh, wow. Because that's the amount of stock. That was if I recall correctly, that was how much money he had in SpaceX at that peak. We did the math earlier in the like last week. I think we did the math. It was like $1.4 trillion, the peak of SpaceX, because he owns like 0.41, like 0.4, like 40%, right? Like he owns 40% of the company. He keeps saying 0.4 because that, whatever, that's what you would use to multiply on a calculator against the actual fucking value of the entire company. But the stock market's been not having a great week either. But honestly, really, SpaceX is getting demolished.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over 50.
She is right, though. The Dow is still technically over 50.
What about affordability? I'm only here one day. Remember, eggs were up about 5 times higher than they ever were. And we have prices are coming down right now at levels that you've never seen. And now with oil crashing, you're going to see something really amazing.
The president.
Once again, not millions, BDB, billions. We're talking in terms of billions of dollars. He lost $434 billion with B dollars in a week. 1 week's time. Not million. We could not just paint pools. We could turn the entire planet into a pool with that kind of money.
Also hit many of his other favorite talking points, including falsely claiming the 2020 election and the recent California primary were rigged, leading to the ever-present question of how focused the president will actually be on the economy ahead of November's election. It all comes as voters are heading to the polls today in Maryland, South Carolina, Utah, and New York.
Is there a runoff in South Carolina?
Democratic primaries could be a bellwether for the direction of the party.
I did not realize it. I think there must be a runoff in South Carolina. Huh. I gotta open up that window. Oh, where are my elections? Oh, shit. I think results are gonna start coming in Maryland any second now. It's after 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whoopsies, didn't mean to do that. Go back. No. Oh, you bastard. Why have I done this? Screw it. I gotta go to the live stream anyway. There's enough money for a communist Ethiopia. That's
vote for Claire Valdez. Are you guys voting?
Yeah. That's enough money. That's enough money to pay for 2 years. Just for context, that's enough money to pay for 2 years of single-payer health care. Okay, that's how much money that is for the entire country. Oh, it's disgusting and should be illegal to have that much money.
Just disgusting and probably illegal.
You voted already? No. You are voting for Claire Valdez?
Oh. By the way, if you're not aware, Hassan has been in New York trying to get people out to vote.
Vote for Claire Valdez. Are you guys voting? Yeah. Have you voted already? No. You are voting for Claire Valdez? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I don't even need to beat them in a pull-up competition.
Right. No. Can you still do pull-ups, Crazy? I can do pull-ups.
How many pull-ups can you do? I can't do that much.
1, 2, 3.
This really is. You counting? Yeah. 6. That's actually very impressive.
That's all I got. Oh, 10. Oh, I worked out this morning. That's why. That's why.
10.5.
Oh, he's locking in.
Oh, he's
it's
going
over.
overhand.
It's
too.
over.
He's going overhand too. He's going overhand.
Wait, for real?
How much is that? 9?
What's up, dude? How many pull-ups can you do?
Honestly, I can't believe that Hassan didn't mention that because he did the easy ones, right? He did it underhand, right? Chin-ups rather than pull-ups. This guy did the hard ones.
Pull-ups can I do?
Yeah. Oh, he's got the wide grip and everything. Great form. God damn. Hassan Abihis are out here. When you went with Mero and Zoran, I bet they didn't do fucking pull-ups. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pull up for Valdez to your polling station. DSA.NYC/vote, right? To find your nearest polling station. What's going on? You vote today? Yeah, it's happening today.
It's today?
Yeah, it's 11
p.m., man. The days. Okay, good to know. You're gonna do it? Yeah.
Let's lock you down for Claire Valdez. Hello. Hi. What's up?
All right, people, let's get to the live streams. I think the Kornacki cam's got to be on by now. Kornacki cam. Go.
District, and Democrats are expecting this is going to be a midterm year is probably going to be a favorable one for them, they think. But this is the kind of district under certain circumstances that could be competitive in the general election.
And speaking of expensive races, there's a different type of expensive race that we were just talking about with Julie out in New York. Field is pretty crowded in the 12th, right? What's the latest there?
Yeah, expensive.
Hold on, I'm going to close the fucking chat. We don't need to see all of this. This is behind by like 5 minutes. I'm looking at the Maryland results right now. We got nothing in the Democratic race. Not a single vote yet. But the polls have closed. It's official. So counting is underway. And I will let you know the second I see any numbers coming in over here.
Immediately, if not sooner.
Race, but you know what, Gotti? They can afford it in the 12th. Here, concerns about AI, concerns about data centers, regulation of AI. He sort of leaned into that, so it makes it a little bit of an interesting test in this district about the prevalence of that issue.
By the way.
But yes, this we'll see here at 9 o'clock.
By the way, these are people that haven't figured this out yet. These are some fairly important races. Utah, not so much, but Maryland and New York. Like, these are the tests, right? Like the blue states, especially in the primaries. These are the tests that we need to be winning, right? Because, I mean, first off, as I've mentioned many times so far in this primary season, by the time we get to the midterms, I mean, I don't see how, first off, we already know what's going to happen with prices between now and November, essentially, because of just the math of it all. It's going to take weeks, if not months, to get oil production back to even 70% of what it was at beforehand. Food costs have already been factored in, essentially, an expected lower harvest. Will most certainly continue to bring higher and higher prices at the grocery stores going into the holidays, right? People are going to basically have back to school, Halloween, and then fucking primaries with fucking, Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas on the fucking cusp right there and everything, I don't see how Republicans are going to do well, right? It's going to be hard. I don't see them holding the seats that they have at this time next year. It will be a miracle for them if they were to pull something like that out, in my opinion. But I won't completely rule. I won't completely rule. I'll give it like a 2%, like a 1 or 2% chance. But I think it's highly likely we see a bunch of Republicans lose their seats. Not just like Republican to Republican violence. We've already seen a bunch of that, of course, in the primaries. But I'm talking about the generals. And all the math we've been looking at suggests Democrats are at the very least going to take the House. Senate's going to be a little bit more complicated. But that's even possible, too. This is these are two blue states. New York, Maryland. A lot of seats here. While they aren't the biggest by land, rocks don't vote. People do. There's a lot of people here. Which means we could get a lot of seats with a lot of good candidates, potentially.
Police officer, interesting here, he is running with the endorsement of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, remember, originally, she's a Maryland native, a Baltimore native. There's a whole story with her and Hoyer that goes back 60 years. It's interesting. But she ends up endorsing Dunn, again, a former Capitol police officer. Dunn has previously run in a different district. This is his second shot, but he did raise some money nationally, again, just through that connection to being, January 6th Capitol police officer. A couple other candidates here of some prominence. Quincy Berebe is from Anne Arundel County, which you're going to see right here, probably about 20% of the vote, 15% or so of the vote's going to come out of there. Blagay is also from Prince George's County. So most of the candidates here from Prince George's County, about half the vote's going to come out of there. And again, this is a very Democratic district. Opportunities don't come along too often for Democratic politicians here. That's why you've got such a crowded field. But it's going to be potentially competitive tonight, and we'll see how it goes. That's why we're keeping an eye on it. So the 5th and the 6th are the two most interesting districts in Maryland. It also, we weren't sure coming in tonight. I'm going to put the 6th on because I think it is the most interesting.
You're not interesting, Steve. We've got a lot of interesting districts. Every single one, we got a good candidate there. Kornacki, go fuck yourself. As you can see here. Not just Harry Dunn. Victor Gaitis in the first, Clint Spellman in the second, Austin Dykes in the third, Jakia Johnson in the fourth, Harry in the fifth, Ethan Wetchtalik, I think I butchered that, in the sixth, Mark Conway in the seventh, and Boris Velasquez, of course, in the eighth. Yeah, we got a sweet pack of candidates in Maryland. Same thing in New York. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right. We got a little bit more than 50% of the races in New York with a primary challenger that we are supporting here today. Fortunately, New York not as full of primaries as Maryland was. Still, you got a full night, and I hope Kornacki isn't planning on calling in fucking quits early. I feel like he is, and he should be ashamed of himself for even thinking about that.
You should be ashamed of yourself for having that thought.
Yeah, Emma's right.
We also, it's a bit of a mystery, how long things are going to take in Maryland. I can just tell you I had it written down here. There were some issues. Yeah.
We do think results should be coming in shortly in Maryland.
Okay.
But not quite yet in these races.
Because we did have an issue in 24 where
Yes.
there was like an hour delay or something.
Yes.
We didn't, I think 9:20 p.m. Do I dare navigate off this and try to set up New York here? Why don't I do that and you shout if anything comes in
Absolutely.
in Maryland? Because I don't want anybody to miss any of the action, but I do want to, as I said, New York's going to close at 9, and 9:01 we may know things. So I want to make sure we go through these races ahead of time. That's the marker button. Let's call up Maryland 5. We got him in, let's call that county. Is there a way to make it so the counties are automatically up?
What?
Okay. St. Mary's County, okay.
Okay, this is suspect as fuck. They just called the race with 20% of the vote in District 2. And it did not go the way that I was hoping for. They just gave it to Olszewski. With only 20% of the vote counted. That seems suspect as shit. How was that? How is that even possible?
Okay, what you're looking at generally is they're going to give you that early vote, that vote by mail in one batch quickly. So about a third of the vote. This is one of the smaller slices of the district. But again, we're outside of the natural base of any of these candidates. Bawafo leading there. Calvert County here, Bawafo leading there. Right, so these are, between the two of these, they're going to be a little bit less than, this is probably between these, oh, geez, I'm sorry, here we go again. If you saw me last week, I made a mess of this. Between these two counties, they're probably going to account for about 15% of the vote in this race tonight. So these are not the big population places, but they're not nothing. And like I said, when you look at where these candidates are from, so many of these candidates are from right here in Prince George's County. Berebe is from, she's a businesswoman. I'm sorry about this. She's a businesswoman from Anne Arundel County, which is right here. So it is an interesting test because you're getting away from the natural geographic base of each candidate. And there's Bawafo. Again, early vote, vote by mail with the advantage there. There's Bawafo, although it's close. It's close here over Berebe in St. Mary's County. So there's those two in each county, again, getting outside of the sort of natural geographic base of anybody, getting some separation from the rest of the field. It heightens the drama for what's to come in the bigger population centers right here. And again, you zoom out district wide, that's what it looks like with those votes. And you're basically looking at the early vote from the two smallest counties, component counties of the district. Getting a little bit bigger now, Charles County, early vote, Bawafo with a much healthier margin right here. This is now, if you're Bawafo, this is what you want to see. Charles County is probably going to be 20% of the vote in this primary tonight. This is a very fast-growing area. And what Charles County is sort of demographically is a lot of folks are moving out of Prince George's County and into Charles.
By the way, just so everybody knows, this guy, Adrian Bawafo, received a fuck ton of crypto and Israeli, pro-Israeli PAC money. This guy is suspect as shit.
We say, Bawafo has a base in Prince George's County. Folks who maybe have some familiarity with him, a lot of those folks have become residents of Charles County. And look at that, Bawafo.
Which one is the leftist? Harry Dunn is the one that we are supporting in this race. But there's a variety of policies, I would say, represented here.
Now with a comfortable margin there, at least in the early vote, in a very significant piece of real estate in this district, more than a 13-point advantage for him. So you factor that one in to the mix. Now we've got 10% of all the vote district-wide, and Bawafo has opened up a 10-point advantage over his nearest foe. Again, he's done this without any votes out of Prince George's County yet. Prince George's County, which will account for half the vote tonight, at least, I think. What do you got, Adam?
Anne Arundel just popped
in. Oh, we got Anne Arundel. Okay. Oh, and if you are Bawafo, those numbers are Bafo. Is that? Sorry. That's bad. But I mean, come on. Like we said, again, Berebe is from here. Again, now she's not an elected official. She's a businesswoman. But now we've got 4 counties. We've got all 4 counties outside of Bawafo's Prince George's County here. And Anne Arundel's, again, pretty significant in terms of the vote share, probably 15% or so. And he's winning that. Again, the early vote here, this is about half the vote in there. And that's a very solid margin.
We just got a bunch in 6.
And, we got Prince George's County. This could kind of complete our early vote, Prince George's County.
Okay, there's some weird fucking shit going on here. They are calling all of these races right now. They just called the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 7th, and 8th districts. With only 25% of the vote in for almost every single one of them. It is kind of weird. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck to say about that, but it's just weird. I'm a bit thrown. You would think they'd wait a little bit longer. You know, with California, we're waiting like we waited like a week. And they're like, oh, 20% of the vote, that's good enough. We don't need to see the rest of the votes. Maybe we should see the rest of the votes. Why aren't we seeing the rest? Why would we call it? I mean, really, it's just NBC who's calling it, right? Like, NBC is the one who's calling it. Like, I'm just looking at their website. Doesn't mean the race is actually over.
Part of the district, Delaney did better, not by a landslide margin, but she clearly did better in the early vote in the two big component counties here than Trone. But we got a ton of vote to come. If the Trone vote is better on election day by 5 or 6 points in these places, he reverses that easily. So that quickly becomes, and Adam, you know how this goes. I'll start asking you over and over again if we've got election day vote, same day vote. But when we start getting our next updates right here in Montgomery County and right here in Frederick County, that's going to be the question. Does it look different?
It does not look good. I mean, NBC is, at least if we go by what NBC is declaring as the results, I mean, it's mostly incumbents and or people that got like a ton of PAC money. It is not good. I mean, Raskin's the best result out of all of these, right? Like, Mfume is fucking terrible. Like, all these guys are not good. Well, this guy's not an incumbent, I don't think. This was, whose old seat was this? I'm trying to remember whose fucking seat this was. I think this was one of the Democrats who dropped out recently. I can't remember who it was in Maryland.
Montgomery County, which is like right here. It's not actually in the district. You don't have to live in the district. You only have to live in the state. To
be fair, though, I'm looking at these numbers, and these are hard to overcome. Jamie Raskin, 92% of the vote. Sarah Elfrith, 79% of the vote. Kwesi Mfume, 76% of the vote. Like, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that is somewhat difficult. That is rather difficult to overcome. District 5 is definitely more of a race, it would seem. And District 1 and 6 right now.
You could live anywhere in a state, and you're technically eligible to run in any congressional district in that state, as long as you live within the state. So both of these candidates actually live in Montgomery County, but outside of the Montgomery County portion of this district. I'll probably just leave this one up for a minute. Again, the 5th district, it's a clear advantage here for Boafo. Everything, again, the election day vote, just the only question here in the 5th district is, and I don't know why it would be, but would the election day vote look dramatically and consistently different? It would probably have to be Berebe's favor here over Boafo. But those are, these are not landslide numbers, but those are very solid numbers. And unless something changes dramatically in the election day vote, we said he was probably the front runner going in. He's certainly looking like it right now. So we'll park this right here for a second. It is 8:23. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time till the polls close in New York at 9. I'm going to take a second here to have a little bit of water. And why don't we do this? Why don't you all take a mental picture of this? Adam, you're ready to go if we start getting election day vote.
That's right.
So any new vote in Maryland 6, shout. We'll come right back. We'll see how it's looking, the election day vote versus the early vote, and we'll start to answer our questions. So while Adam is monitoring that like a hawk, you guys don't have to worry. I'm going back to New York because, again, we just want to set up what's going to happen 36 minutes from now, when all these things really could go from 0 to 40, 50, you know, pretty fast. And again, it is that like early vote that gets reported out very quickly here. That's what you're going to see in New York. So again, this district right here, Nydia Velázquez, Democrat, retiring after 34 years. Claire Valdez, this is a candidate affiliated with the Democratic Socialists of America, endorsed by Zoran Mamdani. We have been talking about, you know, sort of the rise of this style of candidate in Democratic politics. There are a couple of tests of that tonight here in New York City. This is one of them. And again, running with that Mamdani backing here, this is the district to be doing it in, because he got 2/3 of the vote in the first round of voting in the Democratic primary for mayor last year. By far, his best area of the city in that mayoral primary. You're talking about areas here, you know, Bush, if you know New York City at all. And I live here, and Adam had to teach me some of this stuff. But Adam, give us a couple of the neighborhoods here that are indicative of why this is so tailor-made.
I'm just re-familiarizing myself right
Mamdani.
now.
Yeah.
With some of the candidates that I wasn't supporting in this race that are currently leading in some of these things. Like I'm looking at the first district right now, but and unfortunately Victor Gaitis, who is our preferred candidate, is in 3rd place. Not doing good. And Dan Schwartz and Randy White are the 2 candidates in 1st and 2nd right now. They are both terrible on their healthcare. I mean, their healthcare policy platform might as well just say nothing. I'm just like looking through the websites of some of these people right now, trying to figure out if there's any discernible difference between the candidates that are currently that are winning. Because honestly, oh god, it's not going well in Maryland right now. We can only hope and pray for New York to go much better, because it is not looking good.
Bushwick's one of the big neighborhoods there, and you know, a lot of young people live there. It was Mamdani's best performing district. It's a really interesting race because of some of the dynamics that have happened in the past few weeks. But fundamentally, yeah, it's a very progressive electorate, especially in the Democratic.
Do the colors behind the names have any significance? They just use cool colors for Democrats and warm colors for Republicans. Basically blue and red. Different kinds of blue and red. And then they use the blue behind the candidate's name to outline, or like to color the districts that they're winning, or like what do you call them, like the voting blocks, right? So like when Kornacki clicks a voting block, it'll show you, like, it should show you, I think, who's winning it once that starts. But right now New York's got no votes in, so because we got 32 minutes until the polls close.
Lasher is a state legislator representing that part of the district. Mike Bloomberg has endorsed Lasher. This district is interesting. Again, we're using Mamdani as a bit of a gauge here from that mayoral campaign last year. Mamdani did, in the primary, relatively speaking, this was not a good district for Mamdani. Andrew Cuomo actually got more votes than Mamdani did in the Democratic primary in this district. It's a very Democratic district, but it's not like a Mamdani
give us pizza or give us death.
So Lasher running like with the Bloomberg endorsement, that's actually, probably somewhat potent here. Alex Boris, again, he's a state legislator from the Upper East Side, right? It used to be that the East Side and the West Side had different congressional districts. In Manhattan, no longer. This was, Nadler was forced into a primary with Carolyn Maloney. Nadler was West Side, Carolyn Maloney was the Upper East Side. They were forced into a primary a couple of years ago. Nadler won that easily. Jack Schlossberg has gotten a lot of attention here with the Kennedy family ties. George Conway sort of wrote
Yeah, I mean, he's a Kennedy, technically. He's just, we just live in a patriarchal society. He's got the wrong last name. Poor guy. No, we just need less Kennedys. I'm really hoping this fucking guy loses in District 12. Not gonna lie.
media, cable news brand into this race. But the most of the polling, and I think when you talk to folks, has suggested Boris and Lasher here have separated themselves from the field a bit. And on paper, about a third of the vote on the Upper West Side, about a third of the vote on the Upper East Side. Let's move north here. Remember, Adam's keeping an eye on Maryland. We won't miss anything if it happens there. Here is a really interesting test. Adriano Espaillat, he was elected in 2016. Again, this is now, what are you talking about? This is like Harlem here. This is northern Manhattan. Harlem, East Harlem. You'd go up to like Washington Heights, Inwood, and then you'd go over to the Bronx. And not too much of this district is in the Bronx. The bulk of the vote is going to be in the Manhattan part here. But
I love how nobody puts any effort into this stuff. I'm the one who's demonetized for low effortness. At least I know how to pronounce fucking Representative Espaillat's name properly. Representative Espaillat. Really? That's how we're saying it now, Kornacki?
Interesting story in this district because I try to make it short. This was once sort of the capital, the political capital of Black America was this district around Harlem. Adam Clayton Powell, if you know that name from the past, back in the 50s and 60s, this was his district. Then Adam Clayton Powell gave way to Charlie Rangel. Charlie Rangel represented this district, a Harlem Democrat, for decades. Well, this used to be a heavily a Black district. Demographically, it became more and more Hispanic. It's now about 50% Hispanic. And as that demographic change played out over the last 20 or so years, Espaillat got ambitious.
Oh,
he challenged Rangel a couple times in 2012 and 2014 toward the end of Rangel.
He went from SB to SBA. He's almost there. You can see he's on the cusp of maybe saying it correctly on the next go. We can only hope.
Rangel was able to hold him off, ultimately retired. At that point, Espaillat was able to get the seat. But it sets up an interesting dynamic in this race because now, 10 years in, Espaillat is being challenged by Daria Liza Avila Chevalier. She is an activist.
You can tell.
A young.
You can tell someone's in his ear trying to get him to say it right because he keeps saying his name over and over again.
Super progressive.
I'm not the only person who apparently took issue with his pronunciation. It's hilarious.
Into politics, and I think the recipe potentially, we'll see tonight, for Avila Chevalier, if she were to win this tonight. Think of how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won her seat in 2018 when she knocked off Joe Crowley, right? Longtime Democratic congressman, different district, not too far away. Very low turnout. And that base, the kind of base I was just describing that Avila Chevalier has, that base, amidst very low turnout, was able to deliver a monster upset for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over Joe Crowley back in 2018. Could something like that happen in this district? And again, given Espaillat's sort of tangled relationship with the Black leadership class in this district, how much interest is there in the old guard in terms of getting out there and helping Espaillat and voting for?
Well, the big money machine is winning in Maryland right now. I'm just looking at these races. It's not going well. It's every single candidate that's winning right now, or has already been declared the winner by fucking NBC, are all just big money candidates. Big money and or incumbent candidates, or both. You assume the incumbents have big money.
And things like that. It's an interesting question. So again, that's an incumbent member of Congress. The mayor of New York City is trying to take him out in this primary. This is the candidate he's trying to do it with. Adam, still nothing in Maryland, right?
That's right.
Okay. So again, we expect numbers very fast in those New York City-based districts. There are other races in New York we want to be watching tonight. I don't think we're going to get lightning fast results in them, but I do want to set them up now anyway. One is, we just went through New York City. It was 4 districts in the span of about 10 miles or so. Now we're going 5.5 miles north. We are going to one of the most sprawling districts you're going to find in the eastern part of the United States, New York's 21st congressional district. Now, this is a Republican-held district. Elise Stefanik, right? She is not seeking re-election. This is her district. Look, I mean, the sort of sweep of terrain that this district takes in here. Starting, you've got like some of the what they'd call like the leather stocking region, the Mohawk Valley, and then you're going all the way up to like Plattsburgh to Malone. From this point here, you're like 90 minutes to Montreal, right? It's like 90 minutes to Montreal, and then it's like 6 hours to New York City. So this is a New York race, but it's nothing at all like New York City here. This is a totally different world up here. And the dynamic in this race is very interesting because the state Republicans, most of the local Republican machinery, as it were, in this district is behind Robert.
Yeah, as I said before, we've talked about this district, District 21. This is basically Hills Have Eyes country. This is more national park than it is, a place that people live. More bears live here than humans, right? Like this is like literally the middle of nowhere. It's on the border. Like, I think the St. Lawrence goes like right through here, or near here. Like it's basically right on the border of Canada. It's this very. The Adirondacks National Park, State Park, whatever it is like it takes up most of this area. Like if you look at it on a map. No, show me the map. No, don't be an idiot. I don't want a picture of the. It's a lovely park, but I don't want to see the thing. It's huge. You see what I'm saying here? This is the best one, I think. Kind of hard to tell. But you see what I'm saying here? Like it takes up most of this district. Like you can kind of see the districts there, right? Like most of these are the Adirondacks. It's just bears and like 3 guys in a log cabin.
Very interesting because the state Republicans, most of the local Republican machinery, as it were, in this district is behind Robert Smullen. He is a state legislator. He's an assemblyman who represents sort of this area of the district right here. They're behind him. He has a military background, legislative background. He's being opposed by Anthony Constantino, who owns it's like a sticker manufacturing company. Adam, I forgot the name of it. Do you remember it offhand?
Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule is the name of it. Constantino, though, has Trump's endorsement. That's why we're talking about him. Donald Trump has endorsed Constantino. So Trump is going sort of opposite of a whole list of Republican big names here, in New York state politics, backing Constantino in this race. Real interesting question then. Who's going to end up with more pull here? And here's the other wrinkle. New York allows... Have you heard fusion voting? Does that mean anything, right? If you're watching this, it probably does mean something to you. It means you have multiple small parties in New York who are able to endorse the candidates nominated by the major parties. So the Conservative Party, there's a Republican Party in New York, there's a Conservative Party. The Conservative Party has a ballot line in New York. They've decided Smullen is going to be that candidate, right? He has the nomination of the Conservative Party. What happens if he loses this primary, right? I mean, he could drop out as the conservative candidate, or would he stay in? Would he stay in and try to win in November as the Conservative Party candidate? And if that were to happen, if you were to have Constantino, Smullen, would that open the door potentially for the Democrats in this district? Because it is a Trump district, but look, Trump won it 60-40 in 2020, 57-40 in 2024, 57-41.
Yeah, and we do have a preferred candidate in this race, Stuart Amoriel. I think it's the best one here. Once again, this is a very red district. Elise Stefanik's former district. A woman who now has no place. If anybody's forgotten who Elise Stefanik is, she's the woman who Trump originally gave the job of UN ambassador to, then took it away because he said they needed the seat in the House. She then started to run for governor, which Trump is basically tanking by having buddied up to Zoran Mamdani earlier this year. Of course, there was no chance of her winning that governor's race anyway. It was always a fever dream. Never going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to be Kathy Hochul. But suffice to say, certainly Elise won't be winning. But now there's a fight for her district, but Republicans might somehow undermine each other enough in this incredibly red district in New York. Might go well, more well for Democrats. I don't know if it's, I don't know if they can take it down. And I mean, you would hope they could take it down in the general, but this district has voted quite red. Pull it up. Let's see here. Nope, that's okay. Well, it worked somehow. Even with there's been a few instances, right? But for like the last decade, it's been mostly red. They voted Trump in 2016, although in 2012 and 2008 they voted Obama, and Schumer for Senate and Gillibrand too in 2016 and 2018. But in 2020 it was Trump, Pinion, Zeldin, who's of course now the EPA administrator. And then just Trump, right? It was just Trump from 16 to 24. With a little bit of blue speckled in. I mean, it's possible, which is I'm not completely ruling it out. But it's just, it's going to take some work here from Democrats. It's going to have to be a candidate that can actually speak to the local issues.
It is a very Trump district here, but split Republican. So that's something to look at, depending on how this result comes out tonight. It's a fascinating dynamics. We'll get into that more as the results come in. Also wanted to show you this, the 17th district here in New York. Mike Lawler is one of the only Republicans. There were 3 Republicans in the House of Representatives who were elected in 2024 in districts that Kamala Harris carried, which means that in 2026, Lawler is at like the very top of the national Republican target list, okay? Mike Lawler's unopposed in his primary. The actions on the Democratic side here, Kate Connolly, a former National Security Council, a national security professional, is seen as the favorite. She's led in the polling coming into this. Beth Davidson is a legislator from Rockland County in this district. There's been some interesting reporting around this race that while Connolly has been leading in the polls, that Lawler wants Davidson to be his candidate, and then perhaps
Left, right, center, an identity adventure. Alternatively, issue-based politics actually addresses. Wait, what? This is what is this AI? But you're right. Some of this is. I could pick pieces of this sound right. I mean, issue-based politics actually addresses real problems, and you're absolutely right. I agree. We need more issue-based politics, and that's what this election for us is all about. That's why we need the primaries, right? By the general, it's party. It's just partisan nonsense. Like you should already know. That's the thing. It's like you should already know who's good on the issues, or you should already know who speaks to you on the issues. Or do you blame the people without power for all your problems, or do you blame those with power for all your problems, right? Because by the time you get to the general, it's kind of laid out. It's like, do you blame immigrants, or do you blame, the powerful businesses, billionaires? At least that will hopefully be the vibes by the general. So the fact is, the right is blaming immigrants for all of your problems. So if that's you, right, then you're a Republican. If you think billionaires are the problem, the people with all of the power, with all of the money, all the property, who dictate what you do at your job, then you're probably more to the left.
5 points, okay? Biden won it by 10 in 2020. So this is one Democrats, just given what this year is looking like politically, a midterm a midterm election for a Republican incumbent president who's in the low 40s at best in his approval rating right now. Democrats think this is the kind of district they can hold that might be competitive in a different year. But to show you, in the Republican primary, this is what you're now. My gosh, Robin Ficker, is he the guy? Do you have a second, Adam?
Yeah.
Can you look up Robin Ficker and like Washington Wizards, Washington Bullets? I may be confusing him with somebody else.
He's known for his passionate support of the Washington Wizards, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think this is the guy he's a very expressive fan. I think he got quite a bit of attention. I don't know if he still does that, but he was a very vocal fan that would frequently find his way onto television. So there you go. But again, the Democrats, just given the climate this year, that's what you're, the action really in terms of settling the seat may well be tonight. We'll take a look back over in the 5th District. Nothing has changed there as well, but we set this up earlier. Adrian Boafo, endorsed by Steny Hoyer, who is retiring after 45 years in the House. He is getting, I'm looking at these numbers around the district, Prince George's County, his base of a couple of these candidates, biggest part of the district, double-digit lead there in the early vote for him. Charles County, probably the second biggest piece of real estate. He's got the advantage there. Number 3 would be Anne Arundel. He's got the clear advantage there. Smaller components of the district would be Calvert, would be St. Mary's, but he's also got the advantage there. Look, his worst number is in St. Mary's. St. Mary's is also the smallest part of this district. So if you're going to have a worst number, this is where you want to have it. Things are looking like Boafo would want them to.
We did just get an update in Calvert, 237 votes.
Yeah.
Boafo gets 34% of them.
So now we're getting election day. So one of the smallest parts of the district, we get 250, you said?
Yeah, about 250.
So we get in our first look, we'll take what we get. That we're getting our first look at the election day vote in Calvert County.
Doesn't seem like Maryland got out there and voted very much. Like the numbers are just low, in my opinion. Like, hold on. Yeah, there's like 6 million people in Maryland. How many registered voters? Just assume 70%, I guess. Of like adults on 6 million. So what's that? Probably like 3 million. You got such low numbers on these. I mean, granted, it's only 30% of the vote in here, but they're super small. This seems like an undersized amount. I don't know what usually they get in Maryland. I should look into that. But I mean, if you add all of these numbers up, maybe you get a little over 150,000? How much is that? 30, 45. It's maybe it's probably not even that. Wow. We need to make voting a federal holiday.
And so far, for Boafo, it looks just like the early vote. He got 33 with the early, 34 with that first update. That's all he needs. He's built himself a real pad here. As you can see, a 12-point pad over a very sort of crowded field behind him. All he needs is something that looks reasonably like the early vote, and he's home free. The first update of Election Day vote we get from Calvert County is just like the early vote for him. So again, that's to replace Steny Hoyer in the district, a very Democratic district. So the drama is there in the Democratic primary. Waiting again I'm hoping love to get a meaningful Election Day update here in the next 11 minutes, because at at 8:59. I'm going to switch this over to New York for all. His wife ended up taking the congressional seat a few years later. And again, Trone has spent, the number I believe that's out there is $25 million of his own money. He spent a ton in the Senate race. Angela Alsobrooks is who he lost to. It was the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in 2024. He spent a ton in that. He had spent a ton the first time around, winning the seat in the first place. He defeated in 2018 and Delaney. She hasn't spent quite as much as Trone, but again, the Delaneys have some money too. So a lot's been spent here. We are inside of 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 18 seconds. The polls closing in New York. There was nothing new that's coming in the 5th, is there?
Nothing new in the 5th and the 6th. I am getting excited for the 9 o'clock New York results.
What district in New York are you most excited for?
Whichever district comes first, but I think aforementioned, because we're in the 12th, because I live in the 12th, I do feel like I've been very, tuned into the dynamics there. I get the mailers from all the candidates. They come to my house, and it's been a lot.
Yeah, now and I feel there's a little bit of a risk here. I was complaining to people when the Knicks won the championship. It's one of those. To me, it was a bit like, boy, is this a bit much for the national audience, right? Like, a New York team wins, and it's breaking news, and it's my goodness. And I'm like, when Cleveland wins, when San Antonio, do we do this? So was right. It are we overhyping New York because you were here? But again, I think the answer is no tonight, because again, you've got 2 incumbent members who are in danger of losing their seats. We've only had 4.
You're really close to these New York results coming in. 8 minutes. Eesh. Well, if by the way, everybody, please hit that follow button on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, hit that like button too, helps out. Also, do consider contributing to the Galactic News Network, as we are completely funded by individuals like you. I'm not going to do a Galactic content goal tonight. I think I'm just going to do election coverage. Yeah. Then I'll do another show, like a regular show tomorrow. But like tonight, I think it's just best that we just focus on this.
Four members of Congress lose their seats. Members of the House lose their seats in primaries this year. You got 2 there in New York City who, if the floor fell out for them, it could happen in the next 10 minutes. So that's very significant. You've got tests on the Democratic side, as we're saying, of this sort of very left-wing energy. Again, that the rise of the Democratic Socialists of America, sort of Mamdani, his rise in New York City, trying to transfer it to these candidates, trying to team up with them. These are dynamics that I think could have an impact outside of New York City too, especially if these candidates do, if some of them have success here tonight. We've been doing these this year. We saw Anna Lillian Mejia in New Jersey, far left candidate, very similar to the folks we're talking about in New York City. She won a congressional seat in New Jersey, in the suburbs of New Jersey. We saw Chris Rabb in Philadelphia won a seat there, DSA candidate. So we've seen this in other places, and they, if you get a bunch of them winning, you start to raise the question, boy, is the National Party's identity starting to get, how much is that getting mixed in with this? Well,
you bring up the Knicks run too, and I feel like that was one of the prominent features of this campaign, which is Mamdani has been able to capitalize on his, fame and being mayor and all the money they has. And they had prominent ads that ran all during the playoffs with his slate of endorsements, on those broadcasts of the sports games. And a lot of people were watching that. All in New York City was watching that.
No, that's right. He had all 3 of the 3 candidates we talked about, Lander, Chevalier, and Valdez were in those ads with him. So
we got another update in Calvert and Charles in the 5th.
Okay, folks, this could be your last Maryland 5 update for a while, so enjoy it. Let's make it count. You say Anne Arundel?
Calvert and Charles.
Oh, okay. Charles is big. What did it look like?
400 votes. Boffo gets 28%.
Okay.
And
was second?
he was getting 31% in the.
God. Like I said, this guy took a bunch of APAC and crypto money.
Awful. Weak.
In the initial batch. Second, I think, 16% for
Beribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I mean it's a negligible drop off, and it's not like one of his opponents is jumping up. He 31-17, 28-16, and you said we got a little bit more in Calvert.
Yep. Another 400 votes and about the same as our last one. He did a few points better.
Yeah, there is zero happening in the election day vote here that's making this look like anything other than what you're looking at for Boafo. So at 8:54, that may be the last look we get at Maryland 5 for a little while. I'll put Maryland 6 up again. Well, what I'll do, Adam, literally shout if anything Maryland 6, because we still have time to get it in if there's a significant update. But I'll just go through them again, because once 9 o'clock rolls around, if I'm not overselling this, and I may be, we are going to be getting votes potentially very quickly right here. Antonio Reynoso, endorsed by Nydia Velázquez, a lot of the political establishment. He's the borough president in Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn down here. Claire Valdez, Assemblywoman, Democratic Socialist, Mamdani. Okay, very interesting race here. Overwhelmingly Democratic district. Right here, Dan Goldman, incumbent Democrat, elected in 2022. Huge underdog against Brad Lander, endorsed by Mamdani in this race. Okay, 12th district, Adam just mentioned it. Wide open, started out as a wide open Democratic race. This was Jerry Nadler, long-serving Democrat, okay? Boris Lasher, Boris Upper East Side, Lasher Upper West Side. They seem to be the two favorites. And then the other incumbent here who could be in some trouble, been a little tougher to measure this one, Adriano Espaillat, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier. Again, DSA, endorsed by Mamdani. Espaillat, 10-year incumbent, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Northern Manhattan, Harlem, East Harlem, into the Bronx. Probably 85% of the votes going to be there. Maybe 90% of the votes going to be from the Manhattan part of this district. 4 New York City-based districts. We could get clarity really quickly in any one of them, maybe in all of them. There are a couple of other New York districts, too. Like we said, we'll keep an eye on it in case there's some kind of surprise. That would be like Richie Torres. Talked about that one a minute ago. Grace Meng is a Democrat representing the 6th district. Again, this is in Queens, New York City. This is a large Asian American population. It's a district that actually, of all the New York City districts, Trump only.
I know I don't have a big reach, but I fucked up this week by not posting a vid or like doing a clip of the stream where we covered this fucking race like I've been doing with the other races. It was just, there was so much going on, like, last week. Did so many streams. I just streamed, like, every single day. It's disappointing. You didn't get a notification. YouTube just hates me. It's very rude.
By 5 points. Part of that, is fast and furious, really, and really left us with a cliffhanger here. 55 seconds. All right, I'm going to actually take a little bit of water. Is what I'm going to do.
Yep, it's my fault.
I'm anticipating.
My fault.
I can drink. I'm going to do a drink out of this.
It's all my fault.
Okay. 30 seconds. Get your bets in, folks. The polls are about to close. I shouldn't say that. People actually do bet on these things now. They got those markets, right? Jeez. All right.
So hot right now.
And we won't lose sight of New York 21. We won't lose sight of... All right, I will flip over. Maryland, you got 10 seconds. I'm going to flip as soon as this goes to 0. I'm flipping. And it's New York City results. They should, if they come in one district, they'll be there for all of them. 4, 3, 2, 1, 9 o'clock Eastern, folks. Polls are now closed in New York. A host of congressional races here, Democratic congressional primaries in New York City, other high.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and I mean, there's no results yet. I'm like looking at the numbers right now. Oh my God, he's so excited. Yep, New York, here we go, baby. Let's do it.
Stakes House primaries across the state. Polls now closed for all of those races. And again, we expect, based on the way this went last year, the New York City districts could, and if it's the way it went last year, will report out a ton of vote within the next minute or two. And again, if you see it in one district in New York City, you're going to see it in every district because this is being reported out by the city. So if it hits one, it hits all. And so again, we can leave it here. And I think if you know, whichever one we're on, we'll know for all of them as soon as it lights up. We're on the 7th district here. Why did I pick this one? Why don't we go to the 10th?
I will remind everybody that there are other races other than New York City to discuss.
Because this is the one that's just the clearest stakes here. This is an incumbent member of Congress. We know going in all the reasons why Dan Goldman is in real trouble here. It would be, look, it'd be a massive surprise if the number that comes out here is not a big advantage for Lander over Goldman right off the bat. It would be a very big surprise, but let's see. And again, the minute that lights up, the others start to light up. So, Adam, we made it to 9:01.
No kidding. Really, Kornacki? The ones one starts, the other ones do too? Oh, wow. I mean, you can assume that with a lot of stuff, you know, not just elections. Yep. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're getting results, everybody. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. And Claire Valdez is leading in District 7 right now, 52.2% here. Let's see, I'm looking through them right now. First and third districts. First, we don't have anything on. Third district, Danielle Welch is trailing. So is Chuck Park in the 6th. These are I'm just listing the candidates that we want to win. Brad Lander, 62%, crushing Goldman right now with 34% in District 9. Joshua Bristol, he's trailing big time here in the 3rd. I'm going to be looking through these more and more as we go through the night here, but these are all looking fairly good. Espaillat is losing just by a tiny fraction. Oh, the Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier is, oh, she's doing it. It's only 25% in, but she's doing it right now. Oh, my God. Oh, unfortunately, Richie Torres is winning right now in his race. That's terrible. Come on, Michael. Come on, Michael. You can do it, pal. 17th district. Nothing. I got nothing on the 17th yet. Oh, nothing on the 21st, 3rd, 24th, or 5th. Okay, great. Because those are all outside of the city.
Vote. And it's the early vote. And again, this would be a very big upset if Chevalier were to win this. The question that immediately comes up, though, and I want to get a handy chart out that I should have written out, but this is in my notes, so bear with me. We know from 2025 that Mamdani did well with that early vote, with this first update. The election day vote, okay, the folks going out to vote today, that's what's going to be added in here. I think there's some expectation that Espaillat will do better with that. Then there's also a third thing, sort of the late arriving vote by mail. And as we saw out in California, right? Remember that primary? That was that very late arriving vote by mail in California. I think we expect will be similar here in New York. Was younger, was much more progressive, would be more favorable to a candidate like Chevalier. But what I want to get up here, Adam, do you have the chart in front of you? I'm trying to get it on my phone. You put it in the spreadsheet of the borough by borough breakdown of the early.
Nice. Michael DeSillis beating Ziogas by 30% almost right now. Oh, man. It's crushing it.
That initial batch, the election night in the post. What was it in District 13?
I don't have a breakdown by
It's
district.
going much.
I had
Suffice
it
to
by
say,
borough.
Okay.
Suffice to say, the turnout in New York is already better than in Maryland, of course, with only a few districts reporting a tiny amount of the vote. And it's going much better here. We're seeing our preferred candidates leading in a lot of places. Oh, no. Okay, all right. 13th district, Espaillat just took it back by 0.2%. Oh, this is going to be a tight race. This is going to be a nail-biter. It'll be a nail-biter tonight, people. Oh, boy. I mean, that's where at least we should be. At the very least. I would like that. That's where I'd like us to be at the very least in these races. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was just declared the winner. Not a shocking result. She's one of the incumbent candidates that we were actually endorsing here. As in a primary.
But one thing that is sticking out to me with this right away is inside the counties, you are seeing the split between New York and the Bronx.
Good. Yeah, that's right. So here you go. This is northern Manhattan. You know, again, this is Harlem, East Harlem, Washington Heights, Inwood, Chevalier leading by 4 there. And then you go over to the Bronx side of the river right there, and Espaillat is leading easily. Now, far more votes over here than up here. But again, I think there's an opportunity here. This is in fact, we just got some more votes here.
Yeah, we just got 2 updates. We got one in Bronx and one in New York.
Okay.
The Bronx update
put him back ahead.
Yeah, was more. It was 200 votes, and the New York update was 78 votes.
Okay, so it's a very small update. Is what we got. We'll expect some bigger chunks right here. This immediately becomes the biggest source of drama. And just check me that Maryland 6, we haven't got anything.
Nothing in Maryland 6.
Okay, so we have an incumbent in Maryland 6 who's leading by 5 points, and there's some uncertainty there waiting for the Election Day vote. We have an incumbent in the 10th district who is in.
NBC just declared Brad Lander the winner. He's decimating Goldman. 62%. It's only 30% of the vote, and technically Goldman could come back, but NBC seems to think that he's already won. Damn. Let's go.
Terrible. In fact, there it is. Switched it just in time. NBC News has projected that Brad Lander will defeat incumbent Congressman Dan Goldman in the Democratic primary in New York's 10th congressional district. Lander is the former city comptroller in New York City. He was endorsed by the mayor, Zoran Mamdani, and he has easily defeated Dan Goldman, a 2-term incumbent in the Democratic primary. Goldman becomes the 5th incumbent member of the House this year to lose in a primary. And again, the result is emphatic, overwhelming, and early here. So we have a member of Congress who's gone down in the 10th district. We've got one up here in the 13th congressional district who is in a barn burner right now against, again, a candidate endorsed by Zoran Mamdani running from the left. Up here, and we've got a candidate in Maryland's 6th congressional district. We've got an incumbent Democrat there. We got numbers there?
Yeah.
We got numbers in the 6th, who's also in some trouble, but let's see if that just got resolved. What happened?
We just got votes from Allegheny was the biggest batch. We got 400 votes there. And Trone wins that batch 171 to 141.
Okay, now, I just want to give an update on one of these races. Now, in District 12, our preferred candidate, Laura Dunn, is getting crushed. But the man who is currently winning in this race is a guy by the name of Mika Mika Lasher, who isn't perfect, but I will say this much. He has a few good... He wasn't my preferred candidate in the race, but he does have a few good policies. I'm just looking at it. He's for Medicare for all in here. He's got abolished ICE in here. I mean, he's got some good policies in here. I am not mad at this guy. But like I said, like I thought Laura went the direction, all the directions I wanted to, but Mika is also not a terrible candidate, it would seem. There was a bunch of people in this race. As you can see, there's like 5, 10, if you count write-ins, at least 10 candidates right in the 12th district. So that's actually not a terrible result right now if you were to take it down. Because I think Boris is the one who's been getting all of the... Is he the one who's been getting all the fucking APEC money? I can't remember. I can't remember. Is he the one? No, he's not the one. Actually, he's not bad either, though, I guess. There's actually some... He's got every single fucking union endorsement in the state. Actually, wow. District 12 has a bunch of good candidates. But you know what's really good about the race? The thing I will say that is so great about District 12's race, regardless of who wins here, it would seem, these two are okay. Schlossberg is the one who's actually the worst. I'm looking at Boris. Boris is actually, I don't know, I can't tell you where his money's coming from. I can tell you he's got a lot of fairly good endorsements here. You know, fairly good. Quite good. Maybe there's a few I might want to see in here that I don't see here, but I see Progressive Action New York, AFL-CIO New York, New York Nurses Association, a bunch of local chapters. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the point is Schlossberg, he was the Kennedy. He had a fuck ton of like money behind him. He's out. There's no way he takes that 10% of the race. 10% with 46% of the vote in already in District 12. That's an unlikely situation for him.
I think. What is our expected remaining vote in the 12th district?
63,000.
Okay, so if Boris were to beat Lasher by 5 points, which is what he's currently winning the election day vote, and there are 63,000 votes, that would be about 31. That would not, at this pace, these are big ifs here, but this is just to give you a sense of it. At this pace, he would knock off 3150 of 3540. So Boris is, what he's getting so far, what Adam has just told us from the election day vote here. Right now, Boris is getting the kind of number that absolutely puts it makes it plausible that he could catch Lasher. Plausible. That's what we say. We're saying, is there we keep asking this question in these races. You know, a candidate is behind in that early vote. Do you get some indication that the election day vote's more favorable to him? We are getting indications that the election day vote may be more favorable to Boris than the early vote. If he
The race just got called for District 11 just now. Wow. I think Ziogas may have already conceded. Michael DeSilla taking, that's another Galactic endorsed candidate, taking it down in the 11th district.
Continues to win the election day vote by 5 points. And there are as many election day votes remaining to be counted in this district as we think. It puts him absolutely in the mix right here. And again, remember, there's that third piece. the late arriving vote by mail. You got more, Adam. What is it?
Yeah, well, we also have update at New York 7. We've gotten quite a few updates here in Kings and Queens County. So I just can tick through the most recent one. Queens County, we got 1,400 votes. Valdez gets 62% of that batch.
Hold on one second. I just want to. Oh wait.
Valdez is she's basically won this thing. She's at 53%. She's 15 points ahead of Reynoso. Now, unfortunately, Yvette Clark took it down here in the 9th. She's an incumbent Dem. And Tom Swazi was declared the winner in the 3rd, beating out Danielle Welch. But Mike, like I said, Mike DeSillis, he won here in the 11th. Lander winning in the 10th. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez winning in the 14th. And right now, I mean, Chevalier she just took the lead. We are literally looking at it. What happened? She took the lead back. She just took the lead back in the 13th. Let's go.
Yeah!
She just took it back in the 13th. 23rd and 25th and 24th district still not reporting yet. Stuart Memorial not doing great so far. This is up in Adirondacks country.
Shouldn't this be in our? Why don't we have Queens?
It should be. Numbers? Maybe try clicking out into a different race and clicking back in.
I want to make sure folks see this.
There you go.
With the counties up. Okay, we're having some glitch here where we're not seeing it.
Yeah, so let's stick on the overall results.
Yeah, but tell me this for context.
Yeah.
What is the Queens? You're saying Queens. What was the early vote in Queens, and what is the election day vote?
So it was the early vote was Valdez 65%, Reynoso 20% in Queens.
So she won it by 45, right?
Yep.
And then the election day vote's breaking how?
62-23 for Valdez.
39, yeah. So it's a little bit less, but not to the degree Reynoso needs. You got some in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we also got the Brooklyn update. So that was, Reynoso had carried that first batch 50-46.
He won it by 4, right?
Oh, Richie Crypto Torres just won in the 15th. That's unfortunate. I think that was Michael Blake's second shot at this run. I think he did better this time than last time, but still. How many millions of dollars did fucking Richie fucking raise for this race? It's out of control. You get money out of politics.
And now she won this first election day vote at 60-36.
Oh, she's crushing it in the election day vote. So okay, well those are wow. So if you're Valdez, these are not only did you get a very encouraging number with that.
What the fuck? He's awful. Look, we're not gonna win them all. Okay, proof of that is the Galactic primary list. Okay, the spreadsheet is proof of that. Okay, they're not perfect. We don't win them all. We win some of them. Right? We win enough. If we win enough, we can make big changes. If these people, like I said before, if we can get like 50% of the people who we had already won, let alone who win today and on next Tuesday, and then there's almost nothing going on in July, but in August and September, right? If we get people winning, good people winning in these primaries, just enough of them, we can make, serious changes. Because, we've been talking about this for a while now. You look new, I think, but fact is that, the squad, or whatever you will, never really got over, 7 or 8, maybe 9, I guess. I'm trying to think of who you can count in that, technically. But, if you could get it to 3 times as big, right? Easily doable already based upon the number of candidates going forward right now. And all of a sudden you have a voting block that could truly make serious, like make bills difficult to pass, right? All of a sudden there is actual power when those numbers actually start becoming, enough to truly prevent things from happening. You got dozens of votes all of a sudden. If we were to get 30, 40, I mean, that would be crazy. But the fact is we could do it. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's still 20. There's still like 24. If you count the 3 today, there's like 24 fucking primaries happening between now and the end of primary season. Concluding, I mean, Florida is one of the biggest states in the country. They're still up. Massachusetts still up. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Washington. Kansas, Michigan, Arizona, Colorado. That's next week. In fact, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about Colorado this week. Now that I'm going through it, we got to talk about Colorado this week because that's the last primary of June. Then we got like a month until the next one.
Okay, anything in the Bronx there?
Yeah, 700 new votes. He gets 60, and she gets 32.
Okay, so I mean, these things are, she's winning updates. She's getting about 52 in these updates. That number could come up a little, not huge here, but she's not losing ground. She's not losing ground, and you can.
Yes, Gerb. Quiros. Melat Quiros, running in the 1st district of Colorado, I believe.
See Esbiat, we're at about, just seeing the, 52%, 56%. So the lead for Chevalier now moves up to, that's over a point. It's just under 500 votes. That's over a point, 1.2 points there district-wide. And again, could you, I know you're balancing a bunch of things there, Adam, but you had that, I think this would be important for people, the post-election.
Look at that decide. I mean, I know you can see it over there too, but look at it. It's easier. I think it's easier to see here. Look at this. My God. She's doing it. Up 1.2% now. They were tied. They were actually, she was ahead first, then she was behind, but they were like within a couple of tenths of a percentage point. And now she's actually taking a real lead here. Oh boy. It's looking good.
Night numbers from 2025 for Manhattan and the Bronx.
Yeah.
I think this comes into play here because remember, folks, remember what we saw in California and really in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, right? In that LA mayor's race where it was that late arriving vote by mail.
We just put a call in as well in New York 7.
Yeah, okay. Not a shock. You saw it come in. Look, the margin going up.
We got results in, I think it's the Horseshoe and in Syracuse, I think. I think that's what these districts are. Aaron Gies is crushing it right now. Tiny amount of the vote in. But right now, Aaron Gies is up big. A big. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. Only 1.5%. 3.5% in District 24. But Elman putting in a real show here. Only behind by 3%. So this is a real race here in the 24th District. It looks like Alyssa Elman putting up a real fight. And Gies, at least for now, blowing out Stocker in the Horseshoe. Or is this the Horseshoe? Which one is? I forget which one it is. One of the Horseshoe is the one that goes around Monroe County and like Buffalo. It's just sort of like this weirdly shaped, heavily gerrymandered district. Usually goes red, but this year, who knows what happens in the general
NBC News now officially declaring that Claire Valdez, a DSA-affiliated state legislator endorsed by the mayor, Zoran Mamdani, has defeated Antonio Reynoso, the Brooklyn borough president, who had been endorsed by the outgoing Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez. Again, this is a very clear victory for Valdez over Reynoso. The context here, she was doing this in a district that had voted overwhelmingly, more overwhelmingly than any other congressional district in New York City for Mamdani in last year's primary. And so a candidate very much in alignment with him ideologically and endorsed by him is going to win this easily. So
shut it, Kornacki. Hold on. Oh, she just took the lead. Alyssa Elman, 5% of the vote in now. Now leading by 5 points. Oh, vote coming in the 25th district. Oh, Joe Morelli leading big right now with 32% in. That's no good. This guy sucks. He voted to fund a whole bunch of trash. He's voted to fund ICE many times in the past, as well as Israel funding and all sorts of other bad things. Hopefully Robin Wilt can take it out there.
And we've talked about these DSA.
6,700 votes. Chevalier gets 50%. Espaillat gets 46% of that most recent batch.
Okay.
In the Bronx, we got 600 votes, 58-37 for Espaillat. We also have an update in New York 12. We got another 10,000 votes there. Boris.
By the way, more votes in, more lead for Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier. She's now up 1.4%. A lead of more than 600 votes now. Play.
Gets that batch 38-36 over last year.
Okay, do you have a cumulative election day total for this district? Is that something that's attainable here?
Claire Valdez
yeah, so let me take a look.
declared
Okay,
the
I just wanted
winner.
Claire
Valdez has been officially declared the winner of District 7. Let's go. Fuck yeah! Oh boy, it's going well today. Do a little dance. Do a little dance, Space Fams. It's okay. It's okay. A little dance. It's all right. You can enjoy things in life sometimes.
If you've been watching, this number is really stabilized in the 34, 35, 3,600 range. Remember, Boris had initially, with that first batch of election day vote that we got, he took a bite out of it, and you're saying, maybe, boy, we've had a lot more vote come in since then, and it hasn't budged. So
my current tally has it at Boris 36.9 to Lasher 36.5.
0.4. So it's negligible. I mean, it is better. The election day vote is better for Boris than the early vote. But again, we said he probably needs to be winning that, by about 5 points. He's winning it by 0.4 of a point. And now we're running out of vote. Okay. When we first started doing the math on this, we were well inside of, we had a ton of votes still to come. Not so much anymore. About 3/4 is in. And that pool is getting much bigger, so our sense of what that vote looks like is a lot clearer now, and what it looks like is kind of a wash. Boris needs something more than a wash here. He's trailing. Back to the 13th. Anything new? I don't want to miss anything here, because wow.
Nothing out of the 13th, but we do have our first report out of the 17th in Rockland, Putnam, and Dutchess counties.
Let's go take a look. And okay, wow. So we did just get a big bunch. Let's see where this came from. Is the critical question here. Yeah, I mean, okay, you're talking, okay, this is the most significant. Putnam, we got the most vote out of Putnam. Look at Conley, easy lead here. That's a big chunk of the vote. Dutchess County, we got, it's just the margin, though, that you're seeing. You see it now in 2 counties, really solid. Rockland, this is Davidson's base. Rockland County legislator. It's not a ton of vote, but she's not. This is, if you're Conley, this is great. What, Adam?
We just put in a call as well in one of the races we were tracking earlier, Maryland 5.
Maryland 5, there it is. Adrian Boafo, NBC News is declaring will win the Democratic primary in Maryland's 5th congressional district. This is a race that attracted nearly 24 candidates. Why? Because Steny Hoyer, the 45-year incumbent not seeking re-election, he endorsed Boafo, a state delegate. Boafo wins that overwhelmingly.
Awful. This guy took just a fucking boatload of cash from like APAC and a bunch of crypto packs and stuff. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. You go right to hell, sir.
Immediately, if not sooner.
Democratic district, Delaney, and he's trailing by 700. So that's interesting. That's interesting. It's not that Trone jumped up there. It's that Delaney fell down and Goldstein got a huge number. Again, I don't want to overstate it because you're saying this is only a couple hundred votes.
That's right.
Okay. This is the first time we've got, you know what we've been talking about here. We wanted to see if the election day vote was different. Delaney, had a tentative good position there. We've now seen something that's significantly different. It's small. It's small what we're seeing there, but it is significantly different.
We got some updates in New York.
Yep, we're coming back. We're coming back to you, Maryland 6, but we're going up to the 13th. What do we got?
So 5,000 new votes in Manhattan.
Yep.
Chevalier gets 52% in this most recent batch, 43% for Espaillat. In the Bronx, 1,000 votes, 58-36.
58-36 for Espaillat.
Yes.
Okay, now can you do this? And it's changing fast, but can you calculate what the cumulative election day vote is in Manhattan?
Currently in Manhattan, I have it at 51 for Avilia Chevalier and 44 for Espaillat.
7 points. And what is the expected remaining vote in Manhattan?
That lead keeps climbing. More votes in, more lead for Daria Lisa. She's now 1.7% in the lead against Adriano.
20,000.
20. So if it continues at that pace, Chevalier would net 1,400 more votes than Espaillat in the remaining Manhattan vote. That would move that number to just south of 2289. But I should have asked you, what is it in the Bronx? What's the election day vote running at?
61-33.
So 28, and what's the remaining vote there?
Take a look.
More votes coming in the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Mostly good. Unfortunately, the 25th has been called for Joe Morelli. Robin Wilt losing this one. She was our preferred candidate. Unfortunately, she did not take it down. But look at Alyssa Elman now broadening her lead to 13 points with 15% of the vote in. And Aaron Geese now 80% of the vote with 4.8% in. This one's more of a sizable shift than this one technically, but look at this number, 80%. Wow. So for now, certainly some seriously good-looking results so far in New York. We still got Utah. One election there, technically. And I'm watching Maryland, but it's going really badly. I don't even think we're going to win a single one there. But New York is maybe going to make up for it with how well it's going.
2,700 is our current estimate.
2,700?
Yes.
2,700, okay. So if that holds, Espaillat would net 756 more votes than Chevalier. So if you netted that out, these are ifs, but this is just playing with what we can right here to give you a sense of it. If Chevalier continues to win in Manhattan by the margin she's winning the election day vote by. And if Esbiak continues to win in the Bronx by the margin that he's winning that by in the election day vote, and our projection of the remaining vote is correct in these places, that would net out district-wide to an advantage for Chevalier of about 1,500 votes. Wow. Now, when I say this is very rough, this is the other piece of it I want to get to, the post-election night vote. Because I just extrapolated the remaining vote. Not all of the remaining vote is election day vote. A slice of it, okay, is going to be that late arriving vote by mail. And this is what I was setting up before, and Adam's getting the numbers as we speak. That late arriving vote by mail in 2025 in the Democratic primary for mayor in New York was more pro-Mamdani than the other types of vote. And we just saw that same dynamic on the West Coast in Los Angeles in their mayor's race, where that late arriving vote by mail, what was it? Remember that Spencer Pratt lost second place because it was young voters, it was super progressive vote. That happened in LA a couple weeks ago, happened in New York last year. What was it? What can you tell me about it?
In Manhattan, Mamdani won the election night results by 6 points. And the post-election night results, he won by 12 points.
In Manhattan. And what about the Bronx?
And in the Bronx, Cuomo won that by 16 points.
Right.
And then it was Cuomo by 11 in the post-election.
Right. Okay. So these are 5-6 point swings toward Mamdani in the late arriving vote by mail. It's not huge, but again, if it's even anything like that, you're seeing Chevalier lead right now. You're seeing at the pace she's winning the election day vote by in Manhattan and the pace that it's going in the Bronx. At this point, it would net out in her favor. And there's the possibility, if passed as prologue, if the final.
This shit is wild. I am fucking oh, this is such a huge change for New York politics. And this just with the election. I'm just filling in results right now. Slowly on the fucking spreadsheet. In the background while I listen to Kornacki go here. We are fucking crushing it. This is crazy. This is wild. Sure. Are there still going to be some shitty people left in Congress? Yeah. It's a given. I've been saying it that we have to temper our expectations to some degree. We can't win them all, but we can do our very best to win as many as we possibly can. We're doing a great job in the beautiful Empire State.
The vote, the final 5-10% of the vote that gets counted here moves in her direction 5-6 points like it did for Mamdani, then she'd already be operating from a slight advantage. It would only help her. Wow. This is of all the races tonight, this is the one I had the least idea of what to expect.
Listen to Kornacki.
And
listen to Kornacki. He's like, oh my God. Some socialist just beat Adriano Espaillat. A guy whose name I didn't know before today. But let's be real. He thought that he was going to win. All these fucking guys thought there was no chance for any of these DSA candidates to win. But look at us now.
I'm staying in the race.
This is if you're Chevalier, if you're Mamdani, we just got something. Oh, wow, it was very big for Chevalier. This must have been Manhattan. What was it,
boy.
Though?
So, yeah, then we got another 4,000 votes. We got another 12.
She is now up 2.3%. More votes in. More lead for Daria Liza. It's like I've said that sentence many times now.
Out of the Bronx as well.
Take me through it.
In New York, Chevalier 57,
Whoa. 38 to 38.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow!
Holy cow! Otherwise known as
Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo. By the way, we're getting more results in District 23, 24. 20% of the vote in now. Alyssa Elman, 20% ahead. 20 points. Aaron Gies losing a little bit of that 80% lead, but 43% of the vote in now. 65%. That's a win. That's a win. That should go yellow. There should be a check mark next to that one already. That's done. That thing is done. I'm calling it. I'm making that one green. I'm making that one green. Let's go. What a great day. What a great and beautiful day. So much green on my spreadsheet right now. I'm smiling from ear to ear. Oh, how lovely. The wins, the W's, so much winning. So much winning. More winning than ever before. Everybody's saying it.
And in the Bronx, let me just show you what it looks like overall, and what that update looked like was.
SB at 62, Avila Chevalier at 33.
33, right on what it's been. 86%. Again, the SBI's, it's a much smaller area to begin with, and SBI's running out of opportunities. 86% of the vote right there. Still a quarter of the vote to come, and Chevalier just got a massive, relatively speaking, a massive update in her favor. She just won that last update essentially by 20 points over Espaillat. Meaning
GG right there, dude. GG.
District-wide, more than 3/4 of the vote is in right now.
Oh, another
and Chevalier
update.
has opened.
We got another update. Even more in. 78.6% in. Chevalier now up 2.4%. More votes for, I guess, a person I should start calling the Congresswoman from District 13. I mean, it's all lining up. It would take a lot for Adriano to pull it out now all of a sudden.
Up a lead of 1,300 votes. That's more than just over 2 points ahead of Espaillat in the district-wide tally. And again, the math that we just ran through in the last 5 minutes, extrapolating out the election day vote, where we said it would at that current pace net out to 1,500 votes for Chevalier. The math just changed with that update, because that update just improved the overall number for Chevalier with the election day vote. She's now winning it at a bigger pace than she was with our last update. So these, I tell you, it's tight, but pretty much every update that we've been seeing here, I think is the kind that if you're Chevalier, you'd rather see than Espaillat.
We also have about 10,000 new votes out of the 12th since we last looked at it. Lasher gets 39%, Boris gets 35%.
So I think Lasher is probably, that may have even tipped him ahead in the election day count. If it hasn't, it's basically a tie, because he was down by 4. This is the same thing. Like, Lasher was very happy, I think, with what he got out of the early vote. The first election day vote update that we got here was extremely encouraging for Boris. The subsequent ones have been a lot more. It's close, but the subsequent ones have really all been a lot more encouraging for Lasher than they are for Boris in this district. Let's not lose Maryland 6, right? Anything there?
Very small updates, nothing significant. No.
Okay, because again, just to remind you, right there, we just had, about 5-10 minutes ago in Frederick County, a very interesting development where, again, if you extrapolated that one out, it absolutely puts Trone in the game here district-wide. Keep an eye on that. Go up to the North Country again, where we've got now a quarter of the vote in this Republican primary. The news, wow. Oh, we just got a big update again. The news continues to be very good if your name is Anthony Constantino or Donald Trump, who has endorsed him in this race and really given his candidacy life. And it's just, again, what I'm looking at here is you expect Smolin to do well down around here where his district is. And indeed, he has the lead in Fulton County, but nothing else. There's nothing else for him on here. Again, this is the early vote. Would the election day vote be dramatically different? I mean, it would have to be.
Wow. Alyssa Elman continues to take more and more of the votes here. 60% now. 60% of the vote with 22% of the vote in. Aaron Gies is still at 65% with more and more votes continuing to file in. Daria Lisa just took another 0.1% of the vote against Espaillat, now up to 0.4%. Boris still trailing Lasher by 4. Votes now coming in District 1. Our preferred candidate, they're trailing right now. Where's District 1 again? Is that Coney Island? I mean, not Coney Island. Is that Staten Island? I can't remember where that is. District 1. Oh, it's Suffolk County. It's fucking Long Island. Okay. Okay. Right. Oh, this is Lalota's seat. Oh, this is Nick Lalota's seat. Interesting. Okay.
It would have. I'd hoped that Davidson would win this. He doesn't get his way. He'll get Kate Connolly. They're coming to me here in a second. Just bear with us, folks.
NBC News projects that Brad Lander has defeated Dan Goldman
Clearly good
in
for
that
Chevalier.
closely watched race. Let's bring in NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, what are the headlines that you're seeing so far tonight?
Yeah, we've already seen one congressional incumbent go down, Dan Goldman in New York's 10th congressional district. And Gotti, we may well be seeing a second. Adriano Espaillat, there was just another vote update while you were reading that introduction in the last 30 seconds. And it was a very good update for his challenger, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. She's a candidate of the far left endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America and the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani. And she now leads Espaillat. He is a 10-year incumbent. He is the chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. She now leads him by nearly 2,000 votes by just over 3 points. Again, this district is based in northern Manhattan, Harlem, East Harlem, Washington Heights. It goes over into the Bronx. And I can just show you the bulk of the vote is in Manhattan. That's sort of Harlem and in northern Manhattan. And this is where Chevalier, you can see she's leading there by 8 points. We just keep getting updates here. They've been getting better and better for Chevalier as the night's been going along. Espaillat is leading over here in the Bronx. It's just a much smaller part of the district. Call it soon. Much of the vote is already counted right there.
She is now 3.2%. She just keeps getting more and more of a lead here. Now 82% of the vote in. Seems like Adriano is on his way out. Elman and Gies both continuing to lead in the 23rd and 24th districts.
Each update that we've gotten, especially in the last 20 minutes here, I think has been awfully encouraging if you're Chevalier. So we saw one incumbent go down in the 10th district in New York earlier this evening. A second one is in grave danger. And Gotti, I might add that over in Maryland right now, in the western part of Maryland, a third incumbent.
Yes, he said the far left. I mean, it's Kornacki. What are we expecting exactly?
Still waiting. There's a lot more uncertainty in this one, but certainly April McLean Delaney, she's a freshman Democratic member of Congress. She's being challenged by David Trone. David Trone, a former member of Congress. He used to have this seat. He gave it up. He wants it back. He is challenging the woman who replaced him. He's poured $25 million of his own money into this campaign. And absolutely, you could say at this hour, he has a shot, at least based on how the numbers have looked. So to varying degrees here, there's the possibility of 3 incumbent members of Congress losing this evening in these states. Coming into tonight, this entire year, only 4 incumbent members of Congress had been defeated in primaries. And oh, by the way, not to complicate it too much, but the polls are going to be closing in Utah in a few minutes, and there might be a couple of incumbents in trouble there as well.
Interesting. Maryland and New York, they're traditionally solid blue states, right? What are the issues that have been propelling voters there, and how much overlap is it with the momentum that the DSA has seen?
I think that's really the headline here, certainly. What we're seeing in New York City tonight. And another way of looking at these results, too, is I say Chevalier, DSA aligned and endorsed by Mamdani. That is also the case in another district in New York City tonight, Claire Valdez. This is an open congressional seat, again, heavily Democratic area. But the question here was sort of...
Aaron Gee has just been declared the winner of the 23rd district. Another galactic candidate. I told you they were going to declare it. I already marked it down on my list. NBC's finally caught up to the Galactic News Network. Good job, NBC.
Taking the temperature inside the Democratic Party. Her opponent was the borough president in Brooklyn, sort of had traditional establishment Democratic credentials. He's been trounced tonight. Valdez, DSA aligned, endorsed by Mamdani, not even close right there. For that matter, again, Goldman, Lander was endorsed by Mamdani and ran very much to the left in this primary, particularly Lander he made Israel an issue. He adopted sort of a maximum.
Look at those final numbers, or nearly final numbers. Double. That's a landslide.
It's a left-wing position on Israel. Went after Goldman that way. Wins big. So we're getting a readout
about caring about the rights of Palestinians. That's left-wing. Actually, I think it's a fairly unanimous position. I think it's becoming more at least being anti-Israel is becoming more and more just sort of the standard opinion everywhere.
Here, certainly, and we've seen this in some other primaries this year. We saw this in a primary in the suburbs of New Jersey. We saw this in Philadelphia. We've seen this in some other places. This energy, this sort of very, I'd say, left-wing energy in the Democratic primary. It's certainly coming to fruition.
Oh my God! Hold on. Oopsies.
1%.
Avila Chevalier now up 3.5%. She's getting all the votes now. I mean, this number barely moved over here, but now she's up even more. Espaillat, might as well concede, pal. I think they're probably going to call Elman, too, on the 24th district.
Sorry, hang on.
Sorry.
How do I get the counties up?
There you go.
We got to make the counties the main thing that comes up. Okay, say again. What do we got here?
About 200 new votes, election day votes there. McLean Delaney, 51%. Trone, 28%.
Oh, wow. Okay. Those are very. We said things. The numbers we got initially out of Frederick hinted at things changing. It may have changed back. It's a small update out of Montgomery, but wow, if it's anything like that coming out of a place like that, that's huge for Delaney. And what is the cumulative election day vote in Frederick now?
In Frederick, we're at 39 McLean Delaney, 37 Trone.
So she's now, that was, okay, the initial updates that we had two much smaller updates. We've added a bigger one in, and look at that. Delaney now back ahead of Trone right here. So that changes. The temperature on this one just changed. Delaney, I think, going a little bit more, not over yet, but that's a very. What do you got?
Heading back up to New York 12 in Manhattan, we've gotten a few consecutive updates out of here, and last year has been every one of them. I've been looking at the neighborhoods, and we set this one up as the Upper East Side versus the Upper West Side. In my current tallies, I have Lasher winning the Upper West Side by 18 points, and the Upper East Side, it's tied.
Yeah. And again, it's stabilized, I think, is the key here. We saw 3,500 or so when we started getting that election day vote, and it's ticked up a little bit for Lasher. Boris has made this close, but he's just none of these updates has he started to really take bites out of that. Okay, so back to 13, though, because huge drama here. Did we get... I feel like we might have just got another update here.
It was another 800 votes, but Chevalier did...
From where?
Eke up her, it's from Manhattan. She did get 63% in that most recent 800.
Oh my gosh.
Espaillat 35.
Yeah, that must have been the one I was talking about.
She's pouring it on in these late updates from Manhattan. So in Manhattan, she okay, she leads by just over 8 points cumulatively in Manhattan, but that margin has been expanding with these updates. Again, Bronx is still sitting there at 86%. So yeah, she's that's now. I mean, look, this is now a 3.5 point margin here, folks. 3.5 points.
Yeah, that's what I just said. 3.5 points. This game is over. And Espaillat is not taking it down like he needs to in the voting day tally, right? Like he's not only not winning, he's losing them. The more that they come out, that last one that came out just was heavily for Daria Lisa. Can't have that if you're trying to make up the lead as Espaillat is in this moment.
Ben McAdams, the name is a former, he was a one-term Democratic congressman. He had defeated the late Mia Love in 2018. He was in the House for one term. He's now trying to go back in.
By the way, Alyssa Elman continues to gain more on her lead here in the 24th district, which I believe is the, I should double check this, but I'm pretty sure this is the Horseshoe District. Yeah, this is the Horseshoe District. Very silly shape. Votes red, usually, in generals, but not always. But she is really beating up on Kastenbaum here. Race hasn't been called yet, but now there's 30% of the vote, and she's basically got double. They're going to call it any second now.
And has been, double digits for her. Let me ask you this. We're looking at...
Like, I don't expect them to rush to calling it for Daria Lisa here because it's so close. Or in the case of the 12th district with Lasher and Boris right now. But with that one, I mean, if that one feels, especially with the way NBC's been calling it, they'll call it any second. That feels safe. That feels like a safe call. In fact, I'm going to fill that one in at this point.
3.5 point spread right here. 22-45 is the margin, 85% of the expected vote. And again, in terms of where that's coming from, it's pretty proportionate because,
by the way,
in Manhattan.
Just really quickly, just look at how much green versus red there is for New York right now. By the way, Maryland is a bloodbath, but look at New York's making up for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins on the board. Almost double number of wins to losses right now in New York. That's a great result. That is a fucking great result. I wasn't sure what to expect today, but it wasn't that. I wasn't thinking that we'd be at 7 and could still win a couple more, because I think we can still at least win a couple more of these. I think the rest of them probably not. Effie, Phillips, Daly, and Stuart and Moriel are trailing too much, I think, to take it right now. Venturis as well. I think Boris and Chevalier could still make it. That would get us to 9.
84% of the expected votes in the Bronx, 86% of the expected vote is in. So it's not really disproportionately from one place to the other relative to how it's been coming in. What is the expected remaining vote in this district overall?
Currently in our system, and I think there is, we do get into questions of, there is a sizable amount of, post-election day vote. And so our tallies right now have it 11,000 out of New York and 1,400 out of the Bronx. I don't know if those,
right.
How much those might change, but that's our current estimate.
Right, it's an expected vote. It's not an official number. It's a moving target. And as Adam says, we have, late arriving vote by mail. But again, just to give you a sense of it, that's, give or take, we think about 12,400 votes total left in this race.
They did it. They just called it. They just called it.
2,200 vote lead,
They just called it. They just called it for the Daria Lisa. They just called it for Daria Lisa. I don't know what happened, but they called it before they called Alyssa Elman. That's wild. They just called it. Holy cow. I don't know if maybe Espaillat gave up, but she just won. Daria Lisa. They just called it. She's got a check mark next to her name. Look at it. Look at it go. Look at it. It's beautiful. And look at this list, though. I mean, this is great. We are killing it now. I mean, if Alyssa does, in fact, win, I already greened this in because I don't see any way she doesn't. I guess it could happen. I mean, she's got 60% of the vote still. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in this primary. Are there some people we would have liked the primary that we didn't primary? Yes, but this is not the time. This is not the time for that. Stupid thoughts in my brain. We did great. We did a great job. This is a fucking title shift.
Chevalier over Espaillat. And as we've been saying, you know, look, in the biggest part of this district here, you know, in Manhattan, you know, she's winning it by just over 8 points. You know, she's getting clobbered in the Bronx. We expected that.
You want to stick on that race?
Yeah.
Go back to the overall.
Yeah. Oh, folks. And there it is. How about this, folks? This is something of a political earthquake. NBC News projects that in the 13th Congressional District of New York, challenger Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier has defeated 5-term incumbent Adriano Espaillat. Espaillat, the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, had run with the endorsement of the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, with the endorsement of the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, with endorsements from a number of prominent Democrats, but not the mayor of New York City. Zoran Mamdani instead endorsed Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. She is aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America, and she has defeated a 5-term incumbent, Espaillat. And so tonight, in New York City,
is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen.
Democratic incumbents have been defeated. Espaillat in the 13th Congressional District and Dan Goldman in the 10th Congressional.
Yes, and then, of course, all the other great wins that we had. It is truly incredible. And by the way, results should start coming in now any second in Utah. While we're waiting those and the rest of the results in New York, I think we deserve one of these. I'm going to have to take this out because of the copyright. But it's worth it.
To song marker.
A communist.
Bad floppy.
Yeah!
dense. That's right. 2 incumbent Dino Dems taken out. Sayonara. Goldman and Espaillat. All right, and to take a look at what's happened here. Now, technically, one race here hasn't been called, but this is what it looks like. The results. Honestly, really, really good. Could it have been better in some spots? Yeah. Oh wait, I just realized that this is the wrong color. We still did really great. Okay, we still did really good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candidates winning here. I don't see how we could possibly be sad about that. And the fact is some of these candidates that lost had winners in the primaries that were not the worst outcome, right? In terms of New York 12th, while I know some people wanted Alex Boris to win, I mean, the fact is that Lasher also has fairly good policies. Not the best. Not as good as Boris, but better than Schlossberg. Better than another fucking Kennedy. Okay? But it's not. This is not great. And also, we wanted Lauren Dunn originally to win. Although Aaron Boris was the one, or Alex Boris was the closest to winning this one. This race has been called as well. But honestly, this is a good win. This is like a big win for the day. Okay, we should all be happy with these results. Like we only had like what was it, 15 actual races? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right, we had 16 races. For us to win almost half of those is pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy, especially, you know, like we've been told that, left policies, they're too crazy to win. They're too crazy to win. Oh, really? Just one of fuck ton of blue seats.
Do you know what we're here for?
Just a buttload of blue seats. Some of them are red seats technically, that we'll have to fight for in the general. But some of these are just a given. Like Lander, he's going straight to Congress, right? Like that seat's not going red. Okay. Gust Broadcast, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Gusties. Hope the stream is going. What were you broadcasting this evening? All right, we're going to keep watching this for a little bit longer here, since we still have the Utah election.
Because that happened. The Republican vote got divided the exact way I'm describing. So that'll be the question here in the coming days. Does Smolin keep that nomination of the Conservative Party? Does he give it up? Does he give up the campaign? But Constantino, the Trump-backed candidate, with a clear victory, an emphatic victory in this primary tonight. Back to Utah, where this one is not going to be. I was wondering if this one might be dramatic, but it absolutely isn't. Malloy here. This is expansive. Now we're into Utah County. Provo Brigham Young University is here. This is part of this county's in the district. But look, she's winning easily everywhere. The question here was there distrust of Malloy in a Republican base that had been indicated in that very narrow primary win in 24? She did run with Trump's backing. The question was, would Lyman, with some of his credentials, have sort of populist, conservative, outsider appeal? But again, these numbers right now are exactly more than Malloy could hope for. And again, the districts here all scrambled. These are new lines because of that redraw. How about this? This is the other Republican incumbent we said to keep an eye on tonight. Blake Moore being challenged by a state legislator, Carrie Ann Listenby. 15% of the vote. Let's put the counties up here, see where it's coming from. It's all coming from one county here, Cache County, which is basically complete.
Okay, we got results coming in Utah now, and it looks like the race is already over. Looks like Nate Bluen did not take this down. I mean, 82% of the votes already in, and McAdams here, 60% of the vote. Also, this is a red seat, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure all of yeah. This is a triple Trump district. So that's a loss for Nate Bluin, I think. There's no way that that last 18% of the vote gets him across the finish line. Unless there's 13,000 votes only for him. I don't think he's going to be winning that one. Still though, I think we did quite well in this election. I didn't expect us to talk about Utah very much tonight, since we only had one primary to cover there, since all the other Democratic candidates were decided by convention before the primaries ever even came around. You figured Nate wouldn't, unfortunately. Oh, wow, you really know what's going on. Okay. Okay, Gusty. I see you over there. Yeah, doesn't look like that's gonna be happening. But big wins in New York. Whether or not all these candidates will see in Congress, not 100%, but it's New York State, and it's a midterm election year. You can see a lot of stuff happening, especially with Donald Trump being the most unpopular president in history right now. This is why, like I've been saying, the primaries are so important. If we can get the right people across the finish line, then it's just like, oh look, you're going up against the people who have been helping the guy ruining the country, that's making gas prices twice as expensive as they were last year. You're fucking, like, we're at war now, like we weren't at this time last year. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things at this point where you can just argue, be like, look, the person in your district has voted 99 times out of 100 to take away your health care. Has been going with Donald Trump's whole fucking vision of this dystopian America that we are now finding ourselves in. Brad and Chevalier won. More than Brad and Chevalier won. I mean, there was only 16 out of 26 House districts with actual primaries. Of those 16 districts, the galactically preferred candidates won 7 of 16 times. That's almost half of those districts. Right? I mean, we can't expect perfection. In my opinion, that is a huge win. That's a huge win. Because I'm expecting, honestly, a lot of districts in blue states that are more red-leaning to have slightly different outcomes this midterm election season. I think there's a lot of people who are real pissed off right now. So people like in the 24th district, like Alyssa Elman, who I believe has been declared the winner now. Although I'm not actually looking at the results. I'm assuming she has. Last time I looked, she had like 60% of the vote. Still has 60% of the vote, with 50% of the vote in. Still hasn't been declared in the 24th district for whatever reason. It's like NBC's sleeping on it or something. But even wins like hers are great. Yeah, you got Claire Valdez, Brad Lander, Michael DeSillis, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, AOC winning her seat again because she was getting primaried. Michael Blake, unfortunately, not able to take down Richie Torres in the 15th. We got Aaron Geese, Alyssa Elman in the 23rd and 24th. That adds up to 7 very good candidates that have won in the primaries here. And then, of course, there's 2, 3, I mean, there's already like 9, 10 incumbent Democrats or whatever it is that are staying in their seats. Right, if it's just a blue versus red calculation for you. But, like, of course, around here, we're trying to shift things a bit. Shift the goalpost for Democrats, broadly speaking. And this'll do it, honestly. If you can get those, like, I don't know, 60% of those people in, that's a huge change for the state of New York. Because you still got, like, some left-ish people already. in Congress. Not as leftish as I would like. I'm saying on the aggregate, like, you know, it changes like the calculations of so many things, in my opinion. If like even just 60% of these candidates win and go to Congress now in the general, in the however many, 24, how many have we done so far? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 24, 25. In the 25 primaries that we've already done this year, I mean, we've already got how many great candidates have already gone ahead? 40? We already got 40 more than that? We've already won primaries? Can it be that many? I'd have to sit here and actually count them out, but it's kind of incredible. Let's not forget, it's not just the House. You know, we got people who won in the Senate, who won, you know, in the governor's races, right? Sherrod Brown, David Roth, Charles Booker, Jeff Merkley. Still waiting on Jamie. Actually, did Jamie win yet? I actually need to look at this. Did this primary happen yet in fucking Louisiana? Wait. Oh, wait, no, the runoff is in 4 days. It's the 27th. Okay. The runoff for Louisiana Senate race is in 4 days. If Jamie wins in Louisiana, and we're to take the old seat of, what's his face? Can't think of his name right now. That would be crazy. Josh Turek in Iowa. He's not perfect, but I mean, if that guy wins in the Senate, that would be fucking crazy, honestly, because Iowa's, you know, represented by fucking, I think is that Chuck Grassley's seat? I can't remember. Either one in Iowa getting replaced by that guy, even though he's not perfect, would be a huge change. Like I said, he's not, we're not 100% behind Josh. Got a couple of little issues with him, but the fact is it would be a marked change in the state of Iowa. We got some real crazy shit that's happened over the last few months. Actually, it's not even a few months. It's been only 2 months. Really, they started when? When did the primaries really start? April? I guess we're almost at the end of June, though. I guess that's 3 months. Or May? May. It was May. No, April. No, there was like two primaries in April that we didn't even fucking cover. Like an idiot. I hope your dog feels better, Gust. Yep. Anyway, Space Fams, I think that was fairly productive primary election. Now, there were some wins I would have liked to see us come down with, but we didn't. But we can't win every single race. The fact is, taking out 2 incumbent Dino Dems, having a bunch of really great candidates winning their primaries here in New York, I hope spells good things for the rest of the year. I'm hoping to redouble my efforts, maybe even re-triple my efforts. The later half, still have a bunch of time in July, hopefully, fingers crossed. Only one primary, that being Arizona, really for the next month. We've just got Colorado next week, Arizona at the end of July, and the rest of the primaries are in August and or September. So I'm hoping to get a bunch done ahead of time and get like the word out on a number of candidates. Maybe even try and get a couple on. We'll see what happens with that. But I don't have a regular show planned for us tonight. It was just the coverage of the elections. I wasn't sure how long they would take, but went a little faster than expected, not gonna lie. Trying to think of what I might do instead. You know, what I might do is actually get some other life shit done here. I was thinking about maybe doing like a separate, like a Twitch gaming stream or something, but probably not. Probably not. I'm thinking no. I'm afraid. Just a reminder, if you haven't already, hit the follow button on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. Even though we didn't have a galactic content goal today, do consider contributing. We got to pay the bills around here. Every dollar contributed really helps keep this show alive. All right. I will probably do, not probably, I'll definitely do a midweek report tomorrow on Wednesday. Weird to think about ending a show right now. This is when I would tend to start shows. It's very strange. Well, we got through another stream. It's quite long. Actually, not that long. But, thankfully we had each other to get through it. Let's see you next. You stay classy, Galactic Stream Nation. Can't forget this. These are your galactic patrons. Gabby, Goth Dogs, Aaron W, Schmegley, PB, Midi, Afroponics, Narwhal by Nature, Interplanet Janet, Godcat, Robot Cat, Disco Wolf, Callie Braiding, Sammy, GeoDragon, The Anticorporatist, Obsessive Audio, Moenoa, Nadia, Choki, Skelts, Selena, Omega Star, Sasha G, Pitchfork Dragon, Vincent Morales, Donald James X, Evan from Portland, Lovely Pariah, Niche, Becky, D Cypher, Icebreaker, Columbia Rican, New York, Will in Detroit, Sisyphean Dask, BC, Free Palestine, Hermit Horologist, HBX, Manda, Lori Lunchmeat, Carl Gaslightocracy, Paige Larson, Frizzla, Penny Hanna 99, Dark Sparkle, CJ from the Six, The Reference Frame, Glitchmaster, Social Butterfly, The Anarchist, Perf XL, Winnie and Robin, Young Chris, Echios, Emily S, Hakate, GND, and Sweet Chewy Forever. That's right. All of these people here will produce the show which your eyes and ears just got done enjoying. You can too, for just a few US dollars a month on Patreon.